setting our alarms to watch as the games get going half a world away in Beijing. So follow us and listen on your favorite podcast app.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
I tried to have a little fun with some of the jungle music, of course, for the Cincinnati Bengals. And what happens? I try to be a team player. What happens, Kev? Facebook dings me. Start threatening me with legal stuff. And, I know with all the money I make here at WING, I could just lawyer. But no, I don't feel like doing that.
You don't have a lawyer on retainer fee?
No.
Oh.
Do you?
You strike me as somebody that probably should.
Why, do I look like the guy that threatens to sue every time?
No, you look like the guy that might get sued a lot.
I hope not. I can't afford to be sued now that everyone knows that. I mean, my gosh, you know how many feelings I've hurt over the years?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome in Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash brought to you by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty and Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Happy Tuesday. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. He will join us coming up next hour. Excited to chat with him about the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. Yes, it still sounds weird. It's even going to sound weird next year saying, I remember when the Bengals were in the Super Bowl last year. But Kev Nash will be bringing back his Kev Nash over under, and it'll be a Super Bowl edition. I forced him to include a Baker Mayfield one in there, but
good old Baker.
You gotta do. I mean, look, I some things need to be done to help my feelings. It's a coping mechanism. Baker Mayfield helps me cope. Speaking of great quarterbacks, though. Tom Brady retired today. Now, you're probably saying, I know, Kinner, it was broke over the weekend. Yeah, but his ego made it sound like, oh, no, the reporters don't know what they're talking about, and try to drag it out a little bit so that he could retire on his terms, which he deserves that. I get that. But, I mean, my gosh, your camp is so locked in. Like, how is something that leaked? Like, something leaked. Someone leaked it. Like, what I always find fascinating about LeBron's camp, and when you have these mega stars like Tom Brady of the NFL, formerly the NFL, LeBron and the NBA, like they have these circles, and most athletes do, but I'm talking about the elite of the elite. I mean, it's airtight. Stuff's not getting out. Like LeBron, if you notice, stuff doesn't leak about LeBron too often. I mean, if you're talking about, they were looking at schools in LA for his kids and stuff, that's stuff that people are going to figure out, or at least try to connect the dots. But stuff doesn't leak like this. So I do find it very weird that something leaked when it comes to Tom Brady's future. I mean, Tom Brady was adamant he's playing till he's 45, but no, officially today on his Instagram page announced his retirement. And it was, a very long message on his Instagram, on his social media, of course, in typical media fashion. No one reads or pays attention to who he's, thanking and giving heartfelt thanks to. No, it's who he didn't include. The story of the day was, he didn't thank Bill Belichick. He didn't thank Robert Kraft. He didn't thank the New England Patriots. I mean, I feel bad for Robert Kraft. I mean, this was supposed to be a happy ending, and you know how much Robert Kraft loves happy endings. And it wasn't a happy ending for Robert Kraft. I mean, at the end of the day, Tom Brady, it was all about the Buccaneers, Kev.
Yeah, man. Tom Brady retired, and this whole thing leaked or came out in a mess because he wanted to make sure he was going to get that $13 million from the Bucs, because I guess Saturday, if he didn't retire, he gets that $13 million. So I'm sure there was something behind the scenes with him and his agent. Like, hey, man, maybe we don't get the whole 13, maybe we get 10, some of that money. And then the story broke, and then they're like, well, we're not going to give you that money. You retire, right? It's probably one of those things that all the I's weren't dotted and the T's weren't crossed and everything like that to make sure he got that money as he walked out the door. But ultimately he retires, and yeah, the message was all about the Bucs. You would imagine he played with the Buccaneers these last 22 years instead of 2 years. He won a ton of championships with the Patriots, with Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, obviously with Bill Belichick and everything like that. And I mean, let's not act like these athletes aren't petty like that. They're motivated by these things. This probably got him up early in the morning in the summers to work out and everything like that. They don't think I still got it as used as motivation. And I'm sure probably in about 5 years from now, when he's going into Canton and everything like that, Mr. Robert Kraft will be there, Bill Belichick will be there, and they'll be all happy, hug, kiss. But as right now, still a little salty, still a couple sore feelings, because you got to think from his perspective, hey, man, y'all went and dropped the bag on all this offensive weapons, offensive line, defensive guys for a rookie QB. I've been with you guys. I've helped you win championships. Why didn't you drop that bag for me? Or why did you give me part of that bag for all my loyalty and hard work? So I'm sure there's still a little hurt feelings from Tom Brady, and rightfully so.
Here's the deal. And I hear, and you're beyond right, but I have a hard time believing that Tom Brady didn't go into Belichick's office, front office of the Patriots, and say, I want a raise, I want a receiver, I want this, I want that. I have a hard time believing that Tom Brady goes in there, asks for these things, and they just told him no. Now, should he have to go? That's the crazy thing. Should he have to go in and ask for these things? No. Like, it's just one of those things where it's the day and age where the athletes own these teams. I mean, if you look at, the paperwork, who owns this team? It's like the Lakers. LeBron owns the Lakers as of right now. Tom Brady owned the Patriots. Like, I still have a hard time believing that Tom Brady could not have put more emphasis, more urgency, more whatever you want to call it, to get what he needed in New England. But that's old storylines out of New England. It does seem that there's something strange there as far as that's concerned. It doesn't seem like it's between him and Robert Kraft. I don't even think it's the organization in general, but I think that organization, the face of that organization right now is Bill Belichick. Right. You got to wonder, and to be fair, he retired, or not retired, but he left New England 2 years ago. And I mean, he put out an article. I mean, he bought out like full page, papers and everything, like front pages in the newspaper. Like, he did all the goodbyes to New England already. Right. There is that aspect to it too. But in your final farewell, to not include anything for the team that you spent 20 years with, but you do 2 pages worth of a team that you spent 2 years with, was kind of strange. But at the end of the day, I think we're making, this isn't supposed to be about that. But, his retirement, I hate that he's retiring. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but, if he throws everyone for a loop and he doesn't end up because, by the way, everyone keeps talking about where could Aaron Rodgers end up? I think he's good with Denver. I think he's good over here. If he doesn't like where Green Bay's willing to send him, he could just up and retire. Right. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. If he becomes a Cleveland Brown, I will definitely get an Aaron Rodgers jersey. But if he retires, that'll be a pit in my stomach too. Tom Brady today, when that finally came across, because I was hoping that he would be angered enough to say, no, forget it, I'm coming back, I'm going to retire on my terms, I'm going to announce what have you. But these players you grow up hating sometimes, like I couldn't stand Big Ben for obvious reasons. I don't like Big Ben, I don't like the Steelers. But it sucked watching him play his final game. Like, I grew up watching Big Ben. I grew up watching Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Well, I didn't really grow up. Aaron Rodgers really got hot right around the time I was, entering college or what have you. But, I'm looking at this graphic here. It's Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers. And by the way, Fitz, disrespectful to put Phillip Rivers in the list with all these other guys. Phillip Rivers' numbers aren't terrible, but he has no business being on a list with even an Eli Manning, who's on this list as well, who won 2 freaking Super Bowls against the GOAT and Tom Brady. But all of my childhood quarterbacks that I grew up watching, that I specifically remember watching, that made me fall in love with the sport, they're gone now. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, still technically playing, but, from the time I'm in middle school, I was watching the Drew Brees, I was watching the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings. So Peyton Manning retiring today, that closes the book on my NFL fandom from my childhood. I'm 32 years old. And it got me to think, the NBA, that happened a while back. Like LeBron is that lasting piece from my childhood. Like Jason Kidd was one of my all-time favorites. He's now a coach, of course, so I can still get to watch him in the league technically. But, so that's what's strange about the NBA. I've already bid farewell to a lot of the stars I watched and fell in love with basketball growing up watching, except LeBron's still that. It'll kill me when LeBron retires because he's, yes, it's LeBron. I'm a big LeBron fan, but he symbolizes my childhood as an NBA fan. So that's why it'll pain me when he retires. Same thing with Tom Brady retiring today. For a lot of listeners that are younger than us, by the way, this is a hell of a group of quarterbacks, by the way, to be getting you to fall in love with football for all the kids. I mean, if you have Joe Burrow and you have Patrick Mahomes and you have Josh Allen and you have, all these Justin Herbert and so on and so, if these are your guys that you're falling in love with football, that's a good group of guys to have to have that for. So the NFL's as healthy as ever. But there's a little age gap between us. I mean, is this your childhood, guys?
No, this isn't my childhood, young adulthood.
Who would be your group? Like real quick, my group, like I said, was Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Big Ben, Eli Manning, and Phillip Rivers.
So
that little generation.
I guess that would be the generation before. So I would imagine, who was that generation before?
Steve McNair, Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Good group
and
as well.
Michael Vick, that era, is the guys that.
And they overlapped with, I guess.
Yeah, they always overlap. It's just who's the last of the guys that overlapped. So, Aaron Rodgers is the last guy that overlaps with the former generation and this generation. And once he's gone, there's nobody. So, yeah, McNabb, Vic, and those guys are my childhood era type of QBs. And then even younger than that, when I'm a little kid and I'm watching football and really don't know what I'm watching. But, Jim Kelly and Randall Cunningham and guys like that. But that doesn't count because I had no idea what I was watching. I was just watching what was on TV.
So, and that's the thing. And now, by the way, I can finally understand where the get off my lawn mindset in sports comes from. Now I'm starting to see where it comes from because I'm watching Tom Brady bid farewell, and I'm already hearing today on shows, who's the next Tom Brady? It's not because it's Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow's name keeps getting brought up and all that. Second year in the league, already in a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, first full year in the league, wins an MVP. You can talk about Lamar, second full league in the year, wins an MVP. So many great quarterbacks today. So right away, that's where everyone's turning to. And I'm like, well, I'm sounding like the people I hated growing up because I found myself doing that today. I'm like, okay, can we let Joe Burrow play more than 1 year, okay, and actually make it through the end without having to have a cast on or something? Can we at least let him get through a full season first? Can we at least let him win the Super Bowl first? Can we at least – and then I'm like, oh, my God, I'm doing exactly what everyone – LeBron, let's be honest. I don't care if LeBron won 7 championships in a 8-year span. He was never going to be the GOAT because your generation was never going to allow that to happen anyways because of perception. I'm not trying to get in that debate with you, I promise. But that's, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm thinking, I don't care what anybody does. I don't care how good Joe Burrow is or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. They will never be Tom Brady. That's my old man mindset kicking in. That's what I'm taking into my adulthood now, into my 30s or whatever. It's the same thing people did with MJ. Look at what LeBron's doing in the NBA. It's stupid to convince yourself what he's doing is not as good, if better than MJ. And I'm not trying to get in that debate, but the point is, you put that block up, you've already made up your mind. There's nothing LeBron can win 5 straight championships now, starting from now until he ends his career. No one's still going to give it to him. And that's fine. That's fine because I'm not going to convince you. You're not going to convince me. And that's what makes this fun. But I found myself on the couch today listening to the debates about who's the next Tom Brady. I'm like, nobody. He's the greatest quarterback ever, not just because he was my childhood quarterback that I watched, but look at what he did. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks ever. He's won Super Bowl. He's only been to one. Dan Marino, didn't even play in my lifetime technically. Never won one. You look at some of the greats. Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them. All the greats, you're lucky if you have 2. You're lucky if you have 1, but 2 was considered a big deal. Peyton Manning had to go to the Broncos to get his second one. Big Ben and Eli Manning are the only 2 quarterbacks in the last 20 years to win more than 1 Super Bowl with their own team.
Right.
Tom Brady won 6 with the Patriots, Eli 2 with the Giants, Big Ben 2 with the Steelers. But Aaron Rodgers has 1, Drew Brees has 1. That's everyone else. You sprinkle in the Nick Foles. I'm just throwing out random quarterbacks that have won one along the way. It's hard to do. Yeah, it's very hard to do. So when you think about what Tom Brady has done in this era, when there is no dynasties, the last true dynasty outside of the Patriots would have been the Cowboys in the 90s.
Yeah.
When they won
the
those,
Niners.
You can argue about the Bills. Byers and I did the other day. He goes, I know they never won the Super Bowl, but 4 straight Super Bowls. Are they a dynasty, an AFC dynasty? But are they? I don't know how you want to view that, but the NFL's not built for dynasties.
Right.
Look at the Chiefs. We thought for sure. This is why I keep telling Bengals fans, enjoy this, because they're doing what the Chiefs fans were doing. Man, look how good he is, Patrick Mahomes. We're going to win it every single year. Patrick Mahomes may not win one again. He may not win another Super Bowl. This league has proven that that's the case. And Joe Burrow, you're in the Super Bowl year 2. You may not get back to one.
Right.
You're not promised one. When Aaron Rodgers got to one with the Packers 11 years ago, everyone thought, oh, man, this guy for sure. He hasn't been back to one. So it's kind of stupid to sit here and just assume that because Joe Burrow's in it in year 2 that, oh, man, the sky's the limit. You never know. But Aaron Rodgers, all that. So that's what, is interesting about Tom Brady and really what separates him from pretty much all athletes in all sports, especially in today's game.
For sure. And I just want to touch on the fact that your formative years of watching sports, whoever is the best and whoever you attach to, whoever is winning the most championships, in your eyes, they're going to be the best. And for the most part, these guys are like that generation I come from, the Michael Jordan stuff, and my brother's generation like kind of overlaps with the Michael Jordan stuff. But the generation before that, with my uncle, is Magic Johnson. And then with his older brother, my older uncle, is Kareem or Wilt. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about your formative years and who you attach to and everything like that. So when, we'll just say randomly Jalen Green becomes like the best player in the NBA and everything like that. And 12 years from now, he has 5 championships and everything like that. There's going to be people that are probably like 8 years old right now that watch Jalen Green win 5 championships, and he's going to rack up all these stats and all these numbers, and they're going to come to the table and they're going to be banging the desk saying, Michael Jordan who, LeBron who, it's Jalen Green, he's the best. And then there's some kid playing basketball in his backyard right now, working on his jump shot better than me and you right now, and he's going to be playing in the NBA in 20 years, and he's going to be the next thing. And whatever kid sees him growing up, they going to scream that person's name. So it's all
going to be wrong.
So it's all about who you really,
ignorance, my friend.
It's about who you grow up with, who you come emotionally attached to and everything like that. And there's very few guys out there that make people say, okay, they give in to whatever bias they have, whether it's their fandom, whether it's their generational bias, whether it's whatever, that people just basically say, okay, man, you got it, man, you the best. And for the most part, Tom Brady gets that. For the most part, most people accept the fact that he's the best quarterback of all time. It's so weird with sports because, we try to break everything down to a microscope and everything like that. And we can say like, all right, Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback, but Tom Brady is the most decorated. And we try to do that because we want to give these dudes their flowers. We want to give them their props and everything like that. And I don't really have a problem with that. But for my money, Tom Brady's the GOAT.
And you know what's crazy about Tom Brady? He went 10 years straight without winning one.
Yeah.
He it had been maybe 9, I guess, because he won one in 15 and he won one in 05. But he went an entire 10-year stretch without winning one. And he still, 10 years without winning one, still won 7, still went to 10 and played 22 years. Almost half of his career he lived in the Super Bowl. And yet you got guys like, talking with Keith Byers, who was fortunate to make it to Super Bowl later in his career with the New England Patriots. Coincidentally enough, really, that's when the Kraft, I think Byers was there right when Kraft got there. I was one of the first players that were brought over during the Kraft era for the New England Patriots. And that's when that foundation was laid. They made an emphasis on going to get veteran players. Instead of rebuilding with all youth players, they said, no, we got to go get, because Belichick, Parcells, I'm sorry, at the time, I want veteran players.
Yeah, I ain't got forever to coach these dudes up. I got have guys that know what they're doing already.
Well, and talking with Byers, it's always interesting hearing him talk about Parcells, because Parcells' mindset was you can't teach young, inexperienced players how to win without players who have won. Right. And I'm always amazed by that. Like, you look at how many teams when they rebuild, they just strip these rosters down to the bare minimum. Who are they learning from? Who are they, who are they looking over across, in their position group learning from? Like, how is Patrick Mahomes? Who is he learning? Or not Patrick Mahomes, sorry, Trevor Lawrence. Who is he learning from? Patrick Mahomes obviously had Alex Smith. Yeah. Obviously Patrick Mahomes had Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow, to his credit, everyone said, oh, leave Andy Dalton. Well, you weren't going to pay him $17 million to be a backup. So he kind of had to teach himself a little bit. Luckily, you had an offensive-minded head coach who, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here, I didn't give any credit to last season. I'm giving him way more credit this year than I thought. Zach Taylor's growing on me. I don't know why. But I don't know. It's irritating me that I'm starting to like Zach Taylor, and I don't want to like Zach Taylor, but he is. He's so like his play. Like, there's no one complains about it. The players don't talk bad about him. Like, it's the crazy. Like, in a day and age where players are constantly, undermining their coach's authority. For a guy that looks like he has no authority, he has no one that's kind of undercutting him a little bit. I think that's pretty interesting. But
what do you think about guys like him, McVay? Like, they're in their mid 30s, or I think like Zach Taylor's like 39. Like, I remember him playing at Nebraska. Like, that's how, like, he's on the NCAA college football game. Like, that's how crazy it is. But like McVay is like 36 or something like that. Like, I think that helps a ton being able to relate to people because you're not that older coach that is like bringing the old school methods to the game. You're a young, innovative coach and everything like that. I think that helps these young guys out a ton.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to jump in on the conversation. We'll step away for a few minutes, and I am curious people's thoughts on this. Like, what was the last player from your childhood that retired? For me, the last quarterback from my childhood today just retired in Tom Brady. So Aaron Rodgers, like I said, he really took off when I was in college. So, I mean, when I was in middle school, I was watching the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys and the Drew Brees of the world. But 518-1410, or head to Facebook, The Justin Kinner Show. Jump in there and let us know who's that last player from your childhood that you remember retiring. 518-1410, or leave it on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We'll respond to those on the other side. Tommy Pennington, shout out to Tommy Pennington. I saw on Facebook, I reached out to Tommy today. He's a listener of the show. He's a big Bengals fan. He literally disagrees with everything I say, and he always lets me know about it. But putting sports aside, his father passed away, so I want to give thoughts, prayers to Tommy Pennington and his family. I shot him a note today, saying I appreciate you listening, even though we constantly disagree. But sports aside, real life comes first, and I feel horrible, and I hope him and his family are doing well considering the circumstances. But Tommy, yes, for your dad, I'll give a who day. How about that? So a who day for Tommy Pennington and his family. Thoughts are with you guys as well. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, and of course Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 53. Tonight's going to be cloudy with rain, a low near 38. And tomorrow's going to be cloudy with rain and a wintry mix, a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
We're a farm store, a family store, a look what I found store. We're a store made for real people and some real beasts. We're a hey neighbor kind of store and an everyday low price store. We're Rural King, and we're working hard to be your favorite store. Check out the huge selection of men's, women's, and kids' Wrangler clothing at the lowest prices every day, like these Wrangler Retro Bootcut jeans for just $49.99.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. Browse over 40 hot tubs from 5 major brands at up to 50% off. Financing is available and show admission is free. That's this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds in Dayton. Visit HotTubOH.com.
Montgomery County veterans, we're here to serve you. You served your country, and now it's time we served you. You are entitled to many VA benefits, to include compensation, pension, and more. Call 937-225-4801 or online at mcvsc.org.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's FURST, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
Hey team, it's a full house. We got to pick up the pace.
At Hank's Restaurant, the line goes around the block.
Is this for 12? Okay, I need the truffle oil drizzle.
What he needs is another line cook.
Oh man, are the quail breasts still in the sous vide? Dave, can you keep an eye on that, please?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Alpha Media Dayton is seeking a digital sales specialist. The ideal candidate will have a proven track record of success in helping clients achieve their revenue goals through lead generation tactics and creative problem solving. This candidate must possess proven new business development skills and demonstrate extensive digital sales experience with core products and services such as OTT and CTV, targeted display, SEO and SEM, mobile, social, and web design, among others. Apply online at alphamediausa.com/careers. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Now, an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that the widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high probabilities for false negative readings. New COVID strands are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Don't wait. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
When you order your Walgreens prescriptions with same-day delivery, it's possible you'll experience some side effects. Side effects may include joy that you won't run out of your pills and disbelief at just how crazy fast the delivery came right to your door. Get your same-day prescription refill today on the Walgreens app.
To use same-day RX delivery or 1 to 2 business day delivery, you must be opted into prescription status alerts. It will appear as an option if orders before that store's cutoff time for the day. Certain health plans do not cover or participate in same-day RX delivery. Check with your health plan for further details. Excludes California.
Mucinex is the #1 OTC brand doctors trust for themselves and their families. So with cold and flu season upon us, why would you use anything else? Available at CVS.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm not giving you my final pick for the Super Bowl, but I'm so back and forth. I'm going to take my bias for the Bengals aside and just say, if I'm just looking at the matchup itself, I'm so torn on who to pick in this Super Bowl. Like, I feel like the Bengals have come too far. They've had this, the O-line's been their biggest deficiency all season. So for me to say they're not going to win the Super Bowl because of that O-line, I mean, I've used that for, 17 weeks of the regular season, 3 playoff games, including the wild card division and AFC title game. I got to eventually just move on to find some other reason why they're not going to win this game, right? But I'm not giving my final prediction yet, but I'm like, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, I think they kind of wash each other. I think they're both capable. I mean, they can put up a ton of yards. They could put up a ton of points. The wide receivers for both teams, Kupp, Jamar Chase, yes, OBJ, T. Higgins. I mean, you look at all the weapons that they could put up a lot of points. The run game could between both teams. I don't want to say that the offenses are mere images of one another, but they kind of are in regards to the way that they're structured. The tiers of explosiveness. When you look at start a quarterback, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, the run game. I mean, but really, I think what separates this matchup is the Rams. I don't want to get into our picks in too much detail, but I have no clue. It's a flip of a coin for me right now. I think as we get close, I'm just curious. Again, in 15, 20 seconds, where are you leaning right now looking at this matchup?
I'm leaning towards the Rams in this matchup. Simply because the aggressiveness of the defense. Kansas City plays more of a passive defense, to kind of, keep everything in front of you, make the tackle and everything like that, and let their front four do all the work. Well, the Rams, they attack you with linebacker blitzes, some cowboy corner blitzes and everything like that. And obviously their front four is way better than Kansas City's front four, everything like that. Their front four is kind of like Tennessee Titans, and we saw that type of matchup. And my question for you, since you're on the fence about it, what if the Bengals were playing the Niners?
I would, despite losing to the Niners, I would actually, if they were playing the Niners right now, I would pick the Bengals over the Niners right now.
Me too.
But the Rams are a different story because the Niners, I would give the edge to the Bengals offensively, which is why I would go with them, even though the Niners defense is better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the Niners was the biggest game of the season and they lost. And it's because they learned. I feel like that's when the switch was flipped. That second half, despite them losing, it was a fact that Zach Taylor learned a lot about himself and his decision making. Joe Burrow, just the sick look on his face after losing that game, like it was like from that point on they've been a completely different team. If they were playing the Niners in the Super Bowl, I would be sitting right here today telling you, oh yeah, I'm actually picking the team. I can't stand the Cincinnati Bengals to win. I'm not picking the Bengals because I can't stand the Bengals, but right now I don't know who I'm picking. I don't think I can go wrong with either one. I just think for obvious reasons the Rams are going to be favored, but we'll get into that more throughout the week. But 518-1410, Tom Brady retires today. He's the last quarterback of my childhood to hang it up. I've watched football for a long time, and obviously a lot of quarterbacks have come and gone. But from the time I was in middle school, I mean, the quarterbacks that I was watching the, obviously the Tom Brady's and the Brett Favre's and the Peyton Mannings and even the Dante Culpeppers and the Donovan McNabbs and that group and the Steve McNair, from the Titans. Like those were the older quarterbacks, I guess, while Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were really kind of coming up, I guess, if you will. Peyton Manning had a few years on Tom Brady, obviously, but Tom Brady retiring today, I just feel like a piece of and I hate that phrase because like everyone always uses the same, but I get it now. It's like that's that last connecting player that I had to my childhood. I remember my first Super Bowl ever. It was my mom, my dad, we had my aunts, my family had come over, and we were just all sitting there. It was a huge snowstorm that night that the Rams and the Patriots played in the Super Bowl. It was the first Super Bowl I could vividly remember sitting down with family and actually, you know what I mean? Like remember watching it and then the ending to that. And I was a big Marshall Faulk fan at that time. So I was actually tuning in to watch the Rams, but I fell in love with the game that night after Vinatieri hits that game-winning field goal. And it was like, oh man, that was freaking exciting. Like that was fun. And I fell in love with football that night. I'd always watched it, but that's the night I remember paying very close attention to the game from that point on. It was because of Tom Brady and that storyline. Bledsoe goes down, he comes in, all about that.
First Super Bowl after 9/11 too.
Yep. So it was just one of those things where I vividly remember that. So yes, Tom Brady retiring today, 32 years old. That's the last quarterback from my childhood that I remember watching growing up. But 518-1410, or of course on the Facebook page, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, who was the last player that retired that was a part of your childhood? For instance, Aaron Rodgers, I watched while I was in college, maybe senior year of high school into my freshman year of college, but I'm not going to include him in that just because I'm talking like from when I was in middle school, like in my childhood. So that's what, Tom Brady leaving is a big deal. There has to be players like that for you all listening right now. 518-1410 or on the Facebook page. The last player you remember retiring from your childhood. Doesn't even have to be football. I'm getting some interesting ones here. Ann Anderson, shout out to Ann. She says Johnny Unitas, Baltimore Colts.
Johnny U.
Alex Early on Facebook says, Kenner, we had two generations of quarterbacks, 90s Aikman, Young, Elway, Bledsoe, Favre. Then we went to the likes of Breeze, Manning, Brady, Rivers, and Eli.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Eli would technically be a childhood quarterback that played, into starting in my childhood. Randy Bertholf on YouTube, Kev, says Barry Larkin hanging it up. I was still young, but grew up falling in love with baseball and his career. When he retired, that really had an impact on me. And I used to laugh when people would say that. I'm like, what do you mean had an impact on you? But Tom Brady today, I'm not all up in my feelings. I'm not going to cry, but you do feel a certain way. Like it's weird. It's like, oh man, like when I tune into football next year, I'm not a Bucs fan, but I would, every time the Bucs were on, I would watch, because watching Tom Brady, even watching the Patriots, there was just that sense of normalcy, I guess, if you will, that just takes you back. And you don't even realize it's taking you back. But then when they retire and go, it's like, oh, dang, Kobe Bryant, the NBA, that was one. And you grew up liking Kobe, hating Kobe, liking Kobe again. And then, man, it sucked to see him retire. And then obviously we know what happened just 2 years ago. But for the NBA, that was a big deal to me when he retired. Tim Duncan was the same.
Allen Iverson for me.
Allen Iverson
for me, because I remember seeing Allen Iverson star at Georgetown as a freshman. And then like him go on to the NBA. So I've literally watched his entire stardom. And I read about his story coming out of high school and everything like that, and going to Georgetown and John Thompson and the whole background and everything like that. So you see somebody, his 2 years in college and his entire NBA career, and then they're retired. So it's like, wow, you've watched a big chunk of someone's life on TV. You feel like you know these people because you so much about them is out there, and everything that Iverson did culturally, and, you know, from the fashion to the braids to the jewelry to the tattoos and everything like that. The dress code rule in the NBA, partially because of him and everything like that, just like that impact. Definitely, I mean, shoot, that's like 1995. So yeah, I'm definitely a kid at that point.
Reggie Miller retiring, that sucked. I hated that retirement. He was I loved Reggie Miller. You know, I was a big LeBron fan during that stretch, and I hated the Pacers, but I loved Reggie Miller. I loved that Ron Artest. That Malice at the Palace team. That team was a badass team. Like you circled them on you couldn't wait to watch them come into town. Those Detroit Pistons teams and everything with Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, what have you. Reggie, I hated seeing him retire. But yeah, Tom Brady today calling it a career. Good responses here in the chat section. But let's go to the phone. That player that retired, that was that last player from your childhood that just bothered you. Today it's Tom Brady. Was never the biggest Tom Brady fan either. It's not like I wanted his jersey. Never bought his jersey. I never, was like, oh, I'm a big Tom Brady fan. But again, that last player that just kind of connected you to your childhood, falling in love with the sport. 518-1410. Let's go to, who do we have, Kev?
We got Chicago Brian on 2.
Chicago Brian, thanks for holding, sir.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Good. The name that sticks out to me, and it's for 2 reasons at the end of my childhood. The guy would be Dan Marino, and the 2 reasons for it was, even if you weren't a Dolphins fan, at the end of his career, it seemed like people all over were rooting for him to get that Super Bowl ring, especially his final years.
I know people weren't huge. I mean, people say they weren't Tom Brady fans. You rooted for him to fail, but do you feel like people were rooting for him to succeed with Tampa? Like, were people kind of going for him against the Rams this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago, I should say?
I know I wasn't.
No,
not you.
No.
That's fair enough. So you said repeat your player again.
I'm going to say Dan Marino, just because the storyline of him chasing after that Super Bowl ring, even if you weren't a Dolphins fan, and I wasn't, people just kind of rooted for him as their second choice if their team wasn't going to the Super Bowl.
Now, what about on the, you're Chicago Brian, so, is there anything on the Cubs side or the Bulls side? Obviously MJ, I'm assuming. Where are you with that?
Well, of course, MJ all 20 times that he retired.
He was the Brett Favre. He was Brett Favre before Brett Favre.
Ryan Sandberg, one of my son's middle name was named after him, so of course that was a big deal.
All right. Anyone else? What about those? Are only sports, just baseball and football?
Yeah, basically, because Jordan did it too many times.
Yeah, and that's what for me, I more vividly remember the Wizards retirement than I do in Chicago. Brian, thank you. The Wizards retirement. And by the way, I still have that Michael Jordan retirement with the Wizards on tape, on VHS tape.
Man,
I found the tape the other day, and it just says MJ's final game, and I'm like, I recorded the Bulls and the Jazz. What the hell's going on? No, it's the playing alongside Brendan Haywood and Ty Lue. And
think about it like this: Ty Lue's a head coach in the NBA now. Brendan is working for the NBA TV. You know, what I'm saying? Popeye Jones also a coach. So yeah, man. Like
Popeye Jones always running around looking like he just saw a ghost. He just terrified of it. Jerry Stackhouse. That team was supposed to be, that wasn't a finals team, but that team was supposed to make the playoffs. Like, they got rid of a bunch of young players like Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace and others because they said, hey, we're not trying to rebuild in MJ's time in Washington, but they didn't have the assets or the money to go get legitimate players. So they went out and got Jerry Stackhouse, who was a 20-plus a night guy. So they try to put guys around him that would at least kind of maybe make them an 8 or 7 seed in the East, which isn't that hard to do. Apparently it was, but injuries, he couldn't stay healthy throughout that year.
The crazy part is I think he played the most games for that team that year.
He was healthier the first year. He
was banged up,
and then that second year, like Stackhouse missed like almost 30 games. Like he missed a crazy amount. But that, I did. I found that MJ retirement tape the other day, so there's that. But
the crazy thing about Dan Marino is, since Chicago Brian brought it up, I remember Dan Marino's last game. They lost to Jacksonville. I want to say it was like 60-10. And all I could think was like, man, Dan Marino lost to the Jacksonville. You got to think, Jacksonville Jaguars, granted, they went to the AFC Championship their year, I believe, and everything like that. But like they were still like early expansion. Like this is like early years for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is probably like the 4th or 5th season for Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Dolphins lost to Jacksonville 60-something to like 10. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but Dan Marino threw like 4 interceptions in that game. And that's how you don't want these great players to go out. So I understand when people say, or we're saying, oh, he should just retire before it looks too bad, or X player should retire before he's out here looking terrible and everything like that. But we always got to remind ourselves, this ain't our lives. This is their lives. This is their dream. This is what they want to try to accomplish. And to Dan Marino's credit, man, he went out on his shield. You know what I'm saying? He went out the way he wanted to go out. He went out throwing the ball. Unfortunately, he got picked off a ton of times, because I remember that was on NBC at like 3:30, like wild card weekend. Sat down in front of the TV. Was like, oh, I'm about to watch Dan the Man do his thing. They got to make it happen. It was bad. It was real bad. And I think they even started that year out like 6-0. And then they end up only winning 9 games the entire season. It was crazy.
Yeah, so Brian McCoy on Facebook, he says Johnny Bench. And, you know, I feel like baseball, especially for Reds fans growing up, especially fans of the Big Red Machine, like those are going to be the guys that you that really hold a soft spot for you, that when they called it a career, like, it, you know, that kind of hit home a little bit. Greg Schoonover on Facebook says Brady is the GOAT. You know, it is funny in every sport, you know, if you throw out any baseball player and say they're the GOAT, it'll be met with arguments.
Right.
We all know what happens in the NBA when you go around the GOAT thing. People want to take each other's heads off. It seems like, and of course, you're always going to find someone that doesn't think Tom Brady's the GOAT, but like that's like the safest one. If all the sports, if you go out in any sport and say Tom Brady's the best quarterback ever, you're not going to be met with a lot of resistance. I'm not saying you won't. I'm just saying
right.
It's the one sport you can go out and say definitively that's the greatest of all time, and you're not going to be met with. You might have people that just don't like him, and that's why they don't want to place him as the GOAT. And really, let's be honest, that's the only way that you would not have him as the GOAT. And it's in some of these conversations, it's always, if I say he's the GOAT, that means Elway's trash, and that means, you know, Montana's trash, and that, you know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers is the worst. And no, sometimes it's just the GOAT. You know, I got to learn that too. When people say MJ's the best, you're not saying LeBron's no good. You're saying MJ's the best. He's not. But no, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like people, I mean, they get so defensive about that. Chris Schulp says when Magic Johnson retired the first time, everyone thought he didn't have much time left. So I was like an emotional goodbye on top
I remember that too.
So there's that. Scott Campbell on Facebook. What about the first player you remember retiring? For me, it was Dayton's own Mike Schmidt. On that, as far as Scott Campbell trying to control the narrative of the show, he's throwing out questions now.
The first player it would probably be Magic Johnson.
For me was Emmitt Smith. Now, that was my favorite running back growing up because of, you know, being a Cowboys fan, but I loved Emmitt Smith. So when he retired, of course, not with the Cowboys, that ticked me off. So it goes back to your point a little bit. But that first time, that's a good question, Scott. Thank you. That first retirement where I felt that, like, oh, this sucks. It was Emmitt Smith when he retired, you know, obviously in the mid 2000s. So there's that.
Yeah, I remember when Magic retired, they rolled the TVs into the classrooms, you know, and everything like that, because obviously it was a big deal. And they talked to kids in the class about what HIV was.
So, and I'm not making light of that. I don't know. Is there a player outside of LeBron that is that big in the league today that if that happened, I don't know if there's a player in the league today that could stop classrooms to where teachers are rolling in the tube for an educational opportunity. Like, I don't think so. Like, that's how big he was. Like, I know how big Magic Johnson was, but I'm not going to pretend I wasn't alive during that stretch or to fully comprehend what, you know, how big he was during that time. So
no. I mean, you got to even think about it like this, just like from a sports perspective with Magic Johnson, they were just in the finals. They just lost to the Bulls in the finals that year. Like, so he's not in the prime of his career, but he still had plenty of good years left, is what everybody thought. And then obviously, you know, I even remember like my brother and my uncles talking about it, like, because my uncle's a huge Lakers fan, everything like that. And, you know, at this time, ESPN isn't what ESPN is today. There's no Twitter. You just basically have to wait on the newspaper and wait on reports and everything like that to come out. And like, this is in like November. So obviously, you know, he's missed all the preseason. He hasn't been at training camp and everything like that. So it's just like wild speculation. And then once it came out, it just shook up the world. And then just everything. Like I said, I remember in school, they brought in the TVs, they played it because one of the teachers had it taped it on VHS and played it and was asking kids, do you know what that means? Do you know what this is? Do you know what that is? Do you know how like just giving us a lesson right there on the spot.
So Mike Haywood says Barry Larkin. I see someone just asked what's the topic. With Tom Brady retiring today, he's the last player from my childhood, NFL wise, star wise, that's retired that I'm like, oh man, that stinks. I just watched Tom Brady's last game 2 weeks ago, and I remember being a kid in middle school. Actually, I was in 6th grade watching that Super Bowl, you know, when he won his first one against the Rams, when I was actually tuning in to watch Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, and Marshall Falk and company, and Martz was the head coach. I tuned in to watch the greatest show on turf. That's why I was sitting down as a kid. I played them on the video games. And I loved Marshall Falk. That's who I was tuning into. And then this Tom Brady character becomes like the big headline, becomes the big storyline, and that he was the big talking point every year. So to read today that he's officially retired, wasn't a big Tom Brady fan, but he was that connecting piece to my childhood when I fell in love with football. So I'm curious, who was that for our listeners? And I expect a lot of these, like the Barry Larkins of the world and the Johnny Benches of the world, I expected that on the baseball side. I am curious about football, though, because we do live in an area, in a state, that although we love our Browns and we love our Bengals, we haven't had good enough Browns or Bengals teams that we can connect with those type of players and say, oh man, that really hurt when they retired. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boston fans today are absolutely livid with Tom Brady. No, I'm not. Dave Portnoy with Barstool. I mean, he just went on this long rant, just pissed off about the farewell message from Tom Brady, not including the Patriot fans, not even including them. Like, it's one thing if you have beef with Bill Belichick, but like to not. I mean, it's almost as if a non-football fan read that retirement message, Kev. It would be one of those where you would have no clue that he even played for New England. That's how distant New England was from that. So New England fans are upset. Like, we don't have that. And again, a lot of you Bengals fans from obviously the 70s and 80s, you have those guys that you connected with. Like, you know, some could say maybe Chad Johnson as of recently for some of you younger ones. But like, what about those players? Like for the Browns, I mean, what player retired for the Browns in the last 20, 30 years that everyone's like super sad about, right?
Bernie Kosar.
But yeah, I mean, fair. But like, the Bengals, and they've had way better teams than the Browns, obviously, especially since Cleveland's come back to the NFL, or since the Browns have come back to the NFL. But, it does for those fans of teams who have had success. It's a little bit different. You feel even more connected. You have even more memories with them as far as that's concerned. Brian Schwederman, what up, Brian? He says Barry Sanders. I don't know why I read that as Bernie right off the bat. I have no clue. I had to do a double glance. Like, wait, what? Like,
feel the burn.
Yeah, feel the burn. Barry Sanders. So many good years left in that tank, and that's kind of a different one. That's a surprising one. Megatron, same thing. From Detroit. And Lions fans, Pam, are you listening? Lions fans, you have a kind of a different story on this. I mean, you had two players best at what they do at that time in their prime say, "I'm out."
Yep.
Imagine Jamar Chase after this year saying, "No, Bengals, I'm good. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it a career." It was surprising. It caught everyone off guard. It was like, "What the hell? He's just not even going to play." And for that to happen twice to the same organization, for one, that's embarrassing on your guys' part. But nonetheless,
I mean, even our older Browns fans can remember when Jim Brown retired. Contract dispute. Obviously, he was making movies and making more money in Hollywood than he was with the Browns at the time, and he decided to retire early and everything like that. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's very weird when we see guys and we expect them to play forever, and then they say, I'm good. And they're still productive players and everything like that. They still got enough in the tank. I mean, think about some of the numbers Tom Brady put up this year. I mean, Tom Brady probably is going to come in second place in the MVP voting and everything like that. So obviously he has a lot left in the tank, but like he said in his message, his family has sacrificed so much for the last 22 plus years. For him to have a career, it's time for him to do some sacrificing, to be around his family and help out the wife and, be with his parents during the golden years and all that type of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wes Goldberg tweeted out earlier, though, that Tom Brady is planning to sign a one-day contract with the New England Patriots and retire with that franchise So see, Robert Kraft got his happy ending after all. All is good in the world. Good for you, Robert Kraft.
Oh man, that's exactly how it should be. That's how it should be. You know, they gonna do something epic for him when they put his name up in the Ring of Honor. They might even change the 12-yard line and put a 12 on it, TB 12-yard line or something like that. Sponsored by Gillette.
By the way, I badmouth the Browns. That there's no quality Browns players over the last 20 years to retire. That makes you. My buddy Nate Dave texted Joe Thomas. I'm like, that's a good one, actually. I didn't even think of that. But yes, Joe Thomas was, especially since Cleveland became good right after, he hangs it up 0-16, and then, they start winning games. Because that next year, too, or that's year 2 of Baker, when they traded away, God, who did they trade away? It's going to drive me nuts to get OBJ. It was one of their linemen, the Zeitler.
Zeitler, yeah.
They traded him away, I remember the offensive line became real bad. They're like, come on, Joe Thomas, please just come back, help for one damn year if you can. All right, a lot of good responses. 518-1410, that's the number. I know we have a couple on hold. We'll get to you guys on the other side. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, brought to you by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, and, of course, Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Kev and I will be back in just a moment with more of your calls, more of your Facebook and YouTube responses. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hey, team, it's a full house. We got to pick up the pace.
At Hank's Restaurant, the line goes around the block.
Is this for 12? Okay, I need the truffle oil drizzle.
What he needs is another line cook.
Oh, man. Are the quail breasts still in the sous vide? Dave, can you keep an eye on that, please?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Gentlemen, now you can find the best brands and fits for you without even trying. Just follow these easy instructions. Step 1, shop a personalized store that does all the work for you by customizing a selection for your taste and body. Step 2, level up your closet with the best brands and fits with little to no effort. Not trying has never looked so good. Introducing Stitch Fix Freestyle, your personalized store. We're so you.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Ever have questions about your prescriptions, even in the middle of the night? Well, Walgreens now offers pharmacy chat 24/7, so you can ask an expert about things like the correct dosage of your medications or possible side effects. Speaking of side effects, the side effect of getting your questions answered at 2 a.m.? Sleeping much easier for the next 6 hours. Try pharmacy chat today or tonight, online or on the Walgreens app.
It's football season again, which means it's football season again. And here at Frank's Red Hot, we've put together a completely exhaustive list of essentials that will bring everyone together on game day. Essential number 1, Frank's Red Hot. I mean, come on, people, that was a given. Number 2, wings. Like, just so many wings. Okay, it looks like that's it. There's not even a third thing on the page. Do I just say the first 2 essentials again, or is that weird? Nope, just Frank's and wings? Okay, that's okay. Yeah. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GEAR for 25 cents a gallon or more cash back on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code GEAR to earn 25 cents a gallon or more on your first tank. That's code GEAR.
Make this the winter of you with Audible. Listen to the latest thrillers, motivation, wellness, and more with podcasts, audiobooks, and originals all in one app. Sign up and start free at audible.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus, home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well, medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
March Madness and the Big Hoopla are back in Dayton with the 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16. Experience the madness live at UD Arena, following all protocols to ensure a safe and great time by all. The road starts here, March 15th and 16th at UD Arena. America's most passionate college basketball fans. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition. If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com. Roofing.com.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, recipient of Honda's President's Award. When your vehicle needs service, we make it convenient. Open 6 days a week, including all day Saturday. We also welcome same-day appointments and walk-ins as well. Our technicians are factory trained, and we offer a new state-of-the-art facility, clean waiting rooms, loaner cars, and free alignment checks as well. Ask for the $99.95 alignment special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. With Instant Match, you'll receive a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Man, and all the hard work of prepping for the show, I missed a bunch. I guess Tom Brady sent out a message to New England fans. He had a separate one for them.
Oh, look at Tommy Brady.
Dave Portnoy throwing a temper tantrum over that. By the way, Kev Nash brings us over under coming up here in just under 10 minutes, just an FYI. Talking about that retirement from a player that just kind of just sits in the pit of your stomach, the one that just bothered you the most. For me, I remember watching Emmitt Smith bid farewell to the NFL. That was one of my that one bothered me the most. Tom Brady retiring today bothers me a lot because that's the last player from my childhood to finally call it a career. So moving forward, it's not a youth movement, but all of these guys that have come later in my lifetime or whatever. The NFL's in good shape though. I mean, Tom Brady, the fact that if Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are gone next year, which I think Aaron Rodgers will be here. It's a matter of not if he'll be here. It's about if he'll be a Packer. But you could see him call it quits. I mean, he's very mentally fragile when it comes to his NFL career. If he doesn't want to play in Green Bay, he has that no trade clause, but if they're not going to just trade him and get nothing in return because the only team that he'll play for, and they don't have as much leverage as they think. He only has 1 year left on that contract. To sit there and act like you're going to get like multiple first round picks. I don't know how much leverage Green Bay has here because he doesn't want to play for them and he'll retire before he plays for them if he doesn't want to. So if I'm the Browns or the Broncos or the Raiders or the 49ers or these teams that might be kicking the tires on this, I wouldn't go in giving up the farm for Aaron Rodgers. I would just say, look, you need us more than we need him. Like we're without a quarterback one way or another if you don't accept our offer. So right. At this point, but he can call it a career. So the fact that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Big Ben and Drew Brees last year and Phillip Rivers last year, to lose all those quarterbacks within just a couple year span, and that doesn't hurt your sport at all. That's how healthy the NFL is. As vibrant and good as the young talent is in the NBA will struggle for a year or two until they develop the new face of the league, and they should be doing it now. But once Steph Curry and LeBron are out, that league will struggle for a little bit. And I know they're super talented, but I don't know how many charisma-filled talent there is in the NBA as far as carrying that sport. Thought it was going to be Zion. It felt like it was going to be Zion.
Right.
And that dude, I don't know he might be the biggest bust since Odin if he doesn't get his stuff together. I know it's injury, but that's what hurt Odin. Odin wasn't a terrible NBA player. He didn't play like a number 1 overall pick, but he couldn't stay healthy. That's Zion. If Zion can't stay healthy and stay in shape, I think he could be the next biggest bust in the NBA as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man, Zion, man, he just needs to be on the court, and right now it doesn't look like he can be. And remember, everybody tried to blame Nike when his shoe exploded and everything like that.
No, he gained weight in the middle of a game.
It's just such a powerful person, and his shoe exploded, and that happens more often than people like to give credit for, man. So, I mean, as far as all these guys retiring, man, especially in the NFL, there's so many talented guys, and the difference between the NBA and the NFL. In the NBA, people root for players. There are very few people out there that are rooting for teams. Obviously, us being from Ohio, 9 times out of 10, you root for the Cavs. There's tons of Los Angeles Lakers fans out there. But just like you and I know people that are Dallas Cowboys fans born in Ohio and they love the Dallas Cowboys. You don't have people born in Ohio that man, I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. No. That just doesn't happen. Like, you maybe have people that are born and raised in Ohio that are New York Knicks fans, but randomly, I know people that are Carolina Panthers fans. They rooting for the team, but in the NBA, they're rooting for the person. You know what I'm saying? They're people specific type of fans in the NBA, but in this game of football, they're going to be loyal to the team to the end. And even if your team stinks, you're still a fan. You just don't wear their merch. And you just watch in misery as your team loses left and right, or potentially loses in misery.
So last thing here as we close this, and you're right. I mean, it's just every sport is definitely different as far as that's concerned. But Brian McCoy says that Anthony Munoz was one that hit hard to him when he retired, even though he retired with Tampa. That he did not retire a Bengal, obviously, but he retired. You know, he's played as. I mean, most NFL players will always finish their career with another team.
Right.
Like Joe Burrow will not end his career with the Bengals, most likely. But I mean, I don't even think that's a hot take. Look, Peyton Manning didn't finish with the Colts.
Right.
He was beloved there. Tom freaking Brady, 20 years with the Patriots, goes on to win a Super Bowl with another team. He didn't finish with his team.
Jerry Rice,
Aaron
Joe
Rodgers
Montana.
won't finish. Like, as crazy as it sounds, while we're so infatuated with Joe Burrow playing in his first Super Bowl in year 2, you know, we're watching this unfold with Tom Brady and how it went down with the Patriots, and watching what happened with Peyton Manning with the Colts, and watching now what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. That it's only a matter of time, you know, and only a matter of time. I mean, we're talking Joe Burrow has a long career in Cincinnati left, but like, he won't, if I had to put money on it, he won't finish his career in Cincinnati.
Yeah, there's very few.
It's just common sense. Look at the league. Like, no one ever finishes with their original team.
Very few players.
Big Ben is shocking.
Big Ben, Dan Marino, I guess you could say Jim Kelly, even though he played in the USFL before he played in the NFL. There's very few guys. I mean, shoot, look at Warren Moon. Warren Moon didn't play his entire career with the Oilers. He went to Minnesota. He went to the Seahawks. You know,
Donovan McNabb didn't. Where did he play? He bounced around
Washington
a little
football
bit.
Team.
Yeah, and that didn't work out. Who was? Why am I? Steve McNair. Did he play every season with the
Ravens?
He started with the Ravens.
No, he started with Tennessee, ended with the Ravens.
God, he won a joint MVP with Peyton Manning. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Which, by the way, I don't think we're that far off from running into a situation like that again. How we haven't run into it since then is beyond me. With how great Aaron Rodgers, it should be this year with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. It's a coin flip, but who deserves it more between those two? But look at the way Joe Burrow's playing now. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Patrick Mahomes. I'll be very shocked if all three of those guys finish their career and don't have to share an MVP. I can't believe we don't see that more. For one, I think it's stupid to have that happen at all. But the fact that it's happened and it hasn't happened since, considering the talent at quarterback, and there's more of it now than even the last 2 decades, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if that was the case. To have, I think I'd be pissed though. If I'm a Bengals fan and Joe Burrow has to share it with Josh Allen, I'd be pissed. Were Titan fans mad at that? I was a little kid when that happened.
I would imagine so. But I think the stupidest thing of all time is the NBA's 75th anniversary team, and you got 76 dudes on the team. That is the dumbest thing of all time.
Who's the 76th?
Oh, man. I forgot who
Joel
it was. No, he didn't make the list. Neither did Dwight Howard for some strange reason. But Anthony Davis did.
I don't like Dwight Howard. Good.
Crazy.
I wouldn't even put him on my top 75.
Crazy. I'm not a Dwight Howard fan, but he's a beast. But somehow Anthony Davis made it on the top 75 players of all time.
He's a champion, a legit champion.
I don't think they win that championship without Dwight.
Well, I know they don't win it without Anthony Davis.
That's a fact.
No, but
that's a fact. But Anthony Davis too scared to guard Joker.
Oh, look, that song's gonna get me kicked off. It was one of the. It was on the Bengals playlist. Yeah, yesterday. I mean, it's not like people flood our Facebook and YouTube page, but I was like, we had no one watching on Facebook. It kind of hurt my feelings. I'm like, we only have like 3 of you to begin with, and they have nobody watching. It's because they kicked me off Facebook yesterday because I try to do the right thing and support the Cincinnati Bengals and their fan base. And what do they do? They kick me off because I played all the Bengals playlist. Can't do that. They get all upset. So, all right, we'll step away for a few moments. We do have ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz coming up 20 minutes from now, but Kev Nash brings us over under when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact thermometers are not accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ready for an oil change? We can help get the right protection at the right price. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Daily Protection or Valvoline Max Life High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP oil filter for just $28.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb.
All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs.
Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. So good, you gotta try it. With Straight Talk, you can get our Silver Unlimited plan for just $45 a month. Now with unlimited high-speed data, plus 5 gigabytes hotspot data, and no contract, with nationwide 5G on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot for your data when you can get unlimited for a whole lot less? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Make this the winter of you with Audible. Listen to the latest thrillers, motivation, wellness, and more with podcasts, audiobooks, and originals all in one app. Sign up and start free at audible.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Very interesting story out of the NFL that's developed, or at least kind of broke over the last hour or two, regarding Brian Flores. So, actually, in the last hour, in the last 15 minutes, Brian Flores is a part of a class action lawsuit, Kev, against the NFL. How about this? We know that tanking, like the phrase tanking, it's a good business plan, but it's what's best for business is not always what's best for business. Like, right. What's best for the business side to load your roster up with a bunch of draft picks and have a youth roster that you're not paying a lot of money towards, and you find a way to win that. Okay, fine. You know, to unload all of your really expensive pieces to start rebuilding. Like, there's a lot of reasons that happen. You know, rebuilds happen because of business reasons, of financial issues or financial, placement. the term tanking, and you could be like the 76ers who put a little catchphrase on it, trust the process, and made little banners out of it and like put it in people's front lawns like it's a like it's a political campaign or something. And like you can soup it up with these cute little sayings, but overall rebuilding is losing to win.
Right.
Losing to win means you're going to lose a lot in hopes of getting enough draft picks, getting enough draft capital, be able to put together enough young talent to be able to win some games. And we debate this all the time. Is it smart, like late in the season, is it smart to try to win a game? If you lose this game, then you improve your draft pick. And you want to, if there's a lot of really good quarterbacks coming out, you want to make sure that you are the worst team in the NFL. And it puts, that's why I've always said, I hate that the incentive is the worse you are, the better draft pick you get. I hate rewarding bad teams with the best players. The Bengals should not have had Joe Burrow. They should not have been rewarded for sucking, but big picture, and it's not a Bengals attack. I feel like that about everything. The Jaguars are a disaster of an organization. They should not have been rewarded an opportunity to get a Trevor Lawrence. Imagine if I've always said, if you look at the way, in fact, let me pull this up now. If you look at where look at the NFL standings, I have always said this, that the draft in all sports, the worst teams should never get the number one overall draft pick. That you should always go to start with the teams that just missed the playoffs, because those teams are beefed up. Those teams have good rosters. Those teams are the ones that are maybe just one or two good solid pieces away from becoming a playoff team, becoming more competitive, or hell, maybe even a Super Bowl team. I mean, look at the impact of Joe Burrow on the bad Bengals team at that time. They got enough draft pieces, what have you. But look at this. So the last team, so the Indianapolis Colts should have the number one overall pick in this year's draft if they went with the Justin Kinner model. The reason I believe this is because the Colts won 9 games. They went 9-8. They tried to make the playoffs. They tried to win. And if I'm the NFL, you should want your teams to all be trying to win. I have no clue why you would ever create a system that rewards losing. The fact that teams tank is an absolute embarrassment in all sports at all levels, no matter where it is. You're a professional athlete. You look at all these awesome, talented kids, boys and girls, whether it's basketball, whether it's any sport. They are striving to do their best to, yes, get an athletic scholarship or to go pro or to do, to go as far as their athletic capabilities will allow them to go. At any point, do you think any of these high school coaches are trying to teach them the importance of what tanking could mean to help your career? No. It's all about pounding in their heads the importance of winning and competing and doing what's right and all that. So why do you work your ass off at 16, 17, 18-year-olds? You work your ass off in college just to get to the professional level that you've strived your whole career to get to, just so you can have an organization say, yeah, guys, if you win, I'm going to be really pissed off because we really like this kid coming out of Georgia. We really like this quarterback coming out of LSU, Joe Burrow. Ever heard of him? Guy that couldn't cut it at Ohio State. Yeah, that guy. Ever heard of him? Joking, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous that teams are put in this position to tank just to get good players, especially when you own a team, a pro franchise. You have money. You don't own, it's not like me and you own a pro franchise and we scrounged up all of our last remaining dollars to buy this franchise, and now we have nothing left and we just have to hope that we make enough money off a hot dog and overpriced beer sales. No. If you have enough money to buy a team, you have a lot of money, which means you have money to get good players. And some organizations, owners, they choose to look at it as an investment instead of a competitive business venture. That drives me nuts. So I've always said, reward the teams that are competing and trying. The Indianapolis Colts were 9-8. They were the last team out of the playoffs. The Eagles were the last team in. The Colts were the last one out. The Saints were 9-8. The Dolphins were 9-8. The Chargers were 9-8. Imagine if those teams right there, the Colts, the Saints, the Dolphins, the Chargers with Justin Herbert. Imagine if they got the top draft picks. Now those are teams that are 9-win teams that you just gave some of the best college talent to. Now they're going to go one step further. Now they might even be incentivized a little bit more of, well, man, now we got these star pieces. Now if we just go spend a little bit more in free agency, boom, we can compete with any team in the NFL. Incentive. Now you're probably saying, well, then how do the teams at the bottom get better? Well, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. Now they are forced to spend money. If you own a franchise and you refuse to spend money and you don't want to get better, then what the hell do you own the team for? So if the only way that you at the bottom of the league can get better is by spending money to go get good players in free agency to come to you, you're competing to win games. Now you're competing to either A, make the playoff, or A, win the Super Bowl, B, make the playoffs, or C, have a competitive enough record to get one of the top 10 draft picks. Everyone's competing to win. The Super Bowl contenders, they're competing to win the Super Bowl. The playoff teams are competing to make the playoffs. The bubble teams, they're competing to make the playoffs, but competing to have that, that best record, unfortunately, of the teams that don't make it. Everyone is striving towards winning. You are forcing teams to want to win. The bad teams, like, for instance, who's the worst team this season? The Jacksonville, I'm not going to continue giving you the best talent out of college. And then obviously they're going to teams that aren't in the best situation to mold you as a talent. Now, Jacksonville, their only way out is, all right, we got to go spend money. We got to load up our receivers. We got to go get this. We got to go get that. We're probably not going to be able to spend enough to be Super Bowl or division contenders, but we can maybe sneak out a wild card. And if we miss it, we're right there in that top 5 draft pick. And that's how we can get better. Everyone should be incentivized by winning. This whole idea that you reward teams for sucking is absolutely ridiculous, because the teams that suck, they don't even know how to take that opportunity and run with it. Congratulations, Bengals. You won 6 games in 2 years, and you took Joe Burrow, you took T. Higgins, you took Jamar Chase, you took Evan McPherson, Joseph Osai will be one hell of a piece whenever he comes back healthy next year, and you killed it. And now look at you. So you're not an example of a team that squandered this opportunity. My team, the Cleveland Browns, they made it a 2-decade hobby of just screwing up every top draft pick that they could possibly get until recent history, of course. So I bring all this up because when you incentivize teams to lose, weird stuff like this happens. Brian Flores is a part of a class action lawsuit against the NFL. He is being represented by the same firm that represented Harvey Weinstein victims and former Fox News employees in their discrimination cases. I bring this up because these are high-end lawyers. This is a big deal. There's something here. Ben Baby covers the Bengals for ESPN. He was tweeting out a little bit more information about this. In this lawsuit, Kev, Flores alleges that the Dolphins owner was willing to pay him $100,000 for every loss in the tanking effort during the 2019 season. I noticed over the weekend some old reports of the Dolphins who were willing to unload every draft pick possible to get Joe Burrow. And I'm like, why is this being rehashed again? Obviously Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, and Dolphins fans are upset that they could have had Joe Burrow, but it's because stuff had started to leak about this class action lawsuit. The Bengals, who were not tanking at that time, they were just naturally bad. The Bengals, who were not tanking at this time, they lost to the Dolphins on week 16 of the 2019 season to secure the number 1 pick. Had the Dolphins lost that game, they would have had Joe Burrow. That's what's crazy about all of that is in those, or no, they would not have had Joe Burrow. They would have had a worse record, but they were trying to lose games.
Right. At
that time, the Dolphins were tanking for Tua. And then everyone started, I forgot, blow for Joe or whatever the hell the weird phrase was for them. $100,000. The front office of the Dolphins was paying their coach not to win. Hey, man, come on, you could lose. You could do it. Come on, Brian Flores, you can lose. You were going to pay your head coach $100,000 for every loss to incentivize your coach to lose, who then would have to find a way to incentivize the players to want to lose. You are trying to unwire all of the wiring that has been done on these super competitive athletes. I hate pro sports for the incentivization of losing. Tanking should never be talked about again. Stop rewarding the worst team in the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball with the best prospects coming out of college. You're ruining those college players' careers more times than not. Like Trevor Lawrence should be a star. He may not ever be anything. He might be a big bust, maybe because he's not as good as we thought, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are not maximizing his talent, and that's what's unfortunate. Stop rewarding bad teams with the best talent. Stop rewarding losing. Rant over.
So much to unpack. So I'll start with the Brian Flores being allegedly paid to lose games. People got to remember, when teams are tanking or whatever, it's not the players. The players aren't going out there to lose games. It's the front office. The front office is putting the team in a position to tank. So you strip them of talent. You trade your best defensive player in Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a first-round pick. So you give up a good player there. You go ahead and you flex power and say, all right, I know we're 5-3 with Ryan Fitzpatrick starting. Going into the bye week, Coach Flores, we want you to start Tua. Why? We're 5-3. We're second place in the AFC East. The Patriots are down. This is our opportunity. It's us and the Bills, man. And
smell blood in the water.
Let's make this happen. No, then you lose 2 in a row. Then you, being Brian Flores, you flex your muscle and say, look, man, I'm going to lose the locker room if I'm not in charge. Let me do something. You put Fitzmagic back in the game. Remember that play he had against the Raiders? That rail shot down the sideline to set up a victory and everything like that. So they ultimately end up winning 10 games that season. Obviously not part of the plan. So when you have organizations, ownership and GMs who aren't on the same page as coaches, because coaches know there's only 32 of these jobs. So if you get hit with the stink of he's not a good coach, look with their record, you're not going to coach again.
On top of being an African-American coach,
yes.
That's why Brian Flores is like, I can't lose and be afforded the benefit of the doubt when it comes to me searching for my next gig, because coaches don't survive the losing during a rebuild. They just don't.
Right.
Zach Taylor, I've asked this for years. Name a coach who was the head coach of a losing, rebuilding team that was able to still come out on the other side being the coach of that team when they finally start having success. Zach Taylor is the only coach I could think of that was the coach of the team that was losing and losing bad, winning 2 games 2 years ago, winning 4 games last year, and now here he is, the head coach of the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Zach Taylor is the only coach in my memory that I could think of that was the head coach of a team, of a team that was rebuilding and losing a lot and still was able to be the head coach of the team coming out successful on the other side.
Right.
It doesn't happen. So Brian Flores is like, absolutely not. I already have so many things working against me as far as the perception of African-American coaches in the National Football League. I am not going to be a head coach of a team that is purposely losing and then have to be labeled with that in my next coaching search. No, that's not going to be okay. I mean, for one, white coach, African-American coach,
Any
Mexican,
coach.
Asian, it don't matter. Having your organization incentivize you to lose is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And it's nothing new. It's just sad that to see an example of a team willing to pay $100,000 to a coach to lose.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's takes it to the next level. I mean, I know people are going to laugh at this, but Hugh Jackson, when he was with the Cleveland Browns, that organization was stripped to the bottom with lack of talent and dudes that probably should have been practice squad players, and he's rolling out there every Sunday.
Sean Kaiser was just
to play in the NFL and everything like that. So when you're out there with lackluster talent, of course you're going to lose games. And then you, as the coach, you wear that, because like it or not, when Hugh Jackson was up for head coaching jobs, he was the number one candidate. When he got that Cleveland Browns job, that was a great hire because everybody wanted him. People wanted him. So once you're labeled as a loser, you're not getting the head coaching job again. Adam Gase will never be a head coach in the NFL again. Like once you had that stink on you, it's hard to get it off. Maybe what's our buddy from Chicago, the former head coach of Chicago? Nagy.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Nagy will get another job, because I do think in the right situation he can be a good coach, but you just have to be willing to do things that you need to do and get the players that he wants and everything like that. But once you're labeled as a loser, you don't get another opportunity. So you holding this bag for the team, it just don't turn out well. It's basically a matter of integrity. Like, all right, you're going to take all this money and you'll never be a head coach again. You'll be, an assistant coach, a DC or an OC or an offensive line coach or whatever, the DB coach. You'll be happy with that. Some people are cool with that. I'm sure there's been guys out there that have done that for the organization, but to his credit, he's speaking up for himself and everything like that. And everybody was blown away on Black Monday when they saw his name, a part of the guys that got fired. Like, you won 10 games. Then you won 9 games. You beat the Patriots twice. You lose your job. Just doesn't seem like the right thing to be doing out there.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
report was like personality conflicts, or there was conflicts between him and the front office.
I bet.
And right away you start thinking, the coach trying to push his way to. No, the coach was actually against losing. And we're gonna fire. If you don't lose, we're gonna fire you.
What
kind of
look
backwards ass stuff is that?
Look at the David Culley situation, and shouts out to David Culley and his agent, because he just got an enormous check, because when he got fired, they put in his contract, if he's fired after one season, he gets X amount of $1 million, and everything like that. He had like a 3-year deal, so basically he's getting all the money that he was going to be getting if he'd have coached out the entire length of the contract. But like, this is nothing new. Like, I'm not a person about tanking, but when you have the game set up like this, they'll always find loopholes. That's kind of why they do the whole draft lottery in the NBA and everything like that. I think they keep it like this because it's great theater. It's also gives those lackluster teams, it gives them hope, because if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and you're drafted at 15, Like they have nothing to sell themselves. They have nothing to rah-rah about.
Well, they don't need to be selling. They need to be buying free agents. go spend money. I know I'm sorry.
But in that case, and this has happened in the early 2000s with the NBA, Allen Iverson signs a maximum contract deal. The other 6-foot dude who thinks he's a shooting guard, chucking about 30 shots a game, gets a max deal. And now your team is in cap hell because we paid a dude that isn't on Allen Iverson's level max dollars. So that's why a lot of these teams aren't willing to do that, because they're saying, well, if we'll rather save the money as opposed to overspend and then put ourselves in a worse position in the long run.
ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz joins us next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 53. Tonight's going to be cloudy with rain, a low near 38. And tomorrow's going to be cloudy with rain and a wintry mix, a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Right now at Wendy's, try their brand new fries for yourself. Made with real natural cut potatoes and guaranteed to be hot and crispy every time. These fries aren't an afterthought. They're fries you won't forget at participating U.S. Wendy's.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. Browse the largest display of hot tubs and swim spas in the region from 5 major brands. Head up to 50% off. That's this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds in Dayton. Visit HotTubOH.com or call 800-SPA-SALE.
Alpha Media Dayton is seeking a digital sales specialist. The ideal candidate will have a proven track record of success in helping clients achieve their revenue goals through lead generation tactics and creative problem solving. This candidate must possess proven new business development skills and demonstrate extensive digital sales experience with core products and services such as OTT and CTV, targeted display, SEO and SEM, mobile, social, and web design, among others. Apply online at alphamediausa.com/careers. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus, home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well, medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and Navage? And should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug. It's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Over 2 million sold. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Skyways are back at Skyline for a very limited time. Now through February 6th, order a Skyway and get 50% extra cheese at no extra charge on regular and large ways. At participating Skylines only. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
When your roommate borrows your car every day, it might be a blind spot. Even having people over to jump around on your trampoline. Yep, it also might be a blind spot. Blind spots are all the surprising things that might need more coverage that you weren't aware of. Good thing Allstate agents can help you find those blind spots while watching out for your wallet.
Call me, Dave Mowdy, at 325-2474. That's 325-2474. Right across the street from Frisch's on East Main Street in Springfield. Based on coverage selected, savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
You make 35,000 decisions every day. Are your gambling decisions good ones? If you struggle with a problem with gambling, call 1-800-589-9966 for free confidential support. Do you have a loved one who struggles with a problem with gambling? This 24/7 helpline also provides resources on how to support a loved one who may need help. Call 1-800-589-9966 or visit beforeyoubet.org.
Game time, you know what that means. Burgers, dogs, your favorite ice-cold beverage, and football. Hi, this is Kirby with Audio Etc. And if you're going to invite the gang over, you can't do it on that old-fashioned high-def TV. What you need to do is come by Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see the latest in 4K picture, 4 times the resolution of high definition, and experience it in 11.2 Dolby Atmos surround sound. Until you do that, you're just watching some big guys run around the field with numbers on it. See, hear, and feel what you've been missing. Installation available. 1 year, same as cash to QBs, not quarterbacks, qualified buyers, Audio Etc. Dayton's finest audio and video. And remember, all 4K TVs and projectors from Audio Etc. are gluten-free. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
Sick of waiting for your furniture to arrive? Menards has the furniture you need in stock. Plus, you get a free rug. That's right. Buy any upholstered living room furniture at $299 or more and get a free 5x7 area rug. That's $149.99 in savings. Need a new chair? How about a sectional, a new recliner, or love seat? Buy one today, get a free rug. Hurry up. Get to Menards before they're gone. In-store only while supplies last.
Save big money at Menards.
Winter is here. Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with the newest seasonal beers and refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your needs, including for the big game on Sunday, February 13th. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wine, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel. And for last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Looking for a way to kick your family's meal up a notch? Then Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has you covered with the 8-piece spicy box at a great price. Experience spicy perfection with 8 pieces of fresh, never frozen classic chicken that's freshly marinated and hand-breaded with a kick. Then it's cooked fresh, just right to seal in that famous flavor. This is the best chicken made bold. Satisfy your spicy cravings with the 8-piece spicy box at a great price. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body could speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmett's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. QC Kinetics, 936-0325.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Big story involving former Dayton Flyer Obi Toppin coming up here that we'll get to top of the 5 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll have you that coming up for you around the corner. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz will join us momentarily. Again, we just communicated with him during the break. He'll be calling in here coming up around the corner. But in the meantime, while we wait, how about we do something that we haven't done since last offseason, which is, of course, right then and there. Like, let's see, this might be our guy. This might be our guy as we get this ironed out. But again, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, and of course Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. So what we got? Oh, well, let me make sure your mic works. That's
hello.
There
we got our buddy CJ on the line. He's been holding for quite some time.
CJ, I hung up on you a little bit ago. I was like, CJ, who the hell's CJ? Forget CJ, and I dropped you, but I did it on accident. But welcome back.
Well, check it out, Justin. You're going to want to hang up on me on purpose when I get done.
Oh, I'll do it. Don't challenge me. No, but what's up?
Well, first of all, because of Tom Brady retirement, he saved me from having to pay you to get CertaPro paint your house. A couple of months ago, I told you were going on about Brady's going to be around 2 or 3 seasons. I told you he wouldn't be, and I told you I'd pay CertaPro to paint your house if Brady was around 2 years from now.
Hashtag CJ was right.
I wish you would have retired a year ago that you're going to paint my house, because I had to do. I finished some of the rooms that Serta did not do, and I had to do it manually, and I butchered it. There's some paint on the ceilings I still have to fix. So if you're still willing to pay for that, by all means, go ahead and do it.
I'm not done with you yet, Justin.
Oh, there's more.
Now, you and I both are wrong on this. I was your soundbite guy. Well, we were moaning and groaning about when the Bengals drafted Chase instead of that offensive lineman.
I thought I recognized those pipes.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. As a former Bengal fan, and I'm sorry, I know I'm rehashing everything from yesterday. I congratulate their fans. I stand wrong, Justin. You can't. The Zach Thomas, apparently this guy knows what he's doing. You and I both felt that he wasn't the coach for the job.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Zach Thomas. Zach Taylor, though.
Zach Taylor. I'm sorry.
Now, I wanted to call you out, but you're telling me I'm wrong, so I had to be a little salty there. So there you go. Real professional, I know.
You don't get a team to the Super Bowl if you're unqualified as a head coach. Okay.
Mike McCarthy's online too.
As far as the draft choice is concerned, that offensive lineman that you and I both wanted is, from what I understand, he's considered a bust at this point. Now, as far
I didn't do it. I swear.
CJ.
I did it. My hands were right here the whole time. I did not hang up on him. CJ, you there?
Oh, man. There he is.
You there?
Yeah.
Oh, you cut out. Everyone thought I hung up on you. I was like, I did not hang up on my guy, CJ.
But if the Bengals are going to have to figure out a way to get those other receivers now, Higgins had a good game Sunday. But if you remember, Higgins was the man before Chase came along. And winning cures everything. But say the Bengals go ahead and they wrap up this Super Bowl, these guys are going to start looking for pay raises. And, receivers get paid basically on the amount of receptions they have. And if Burrows is throwing everything to Chase, that's going to breed some discord in that locker room sooner or later, if it's not changed.
Well, keep in mind, T. Higgins is in year 2 of a rookie contract. This is obviously the first year for Jamar Chase. That's what's scary about the Bengals is, next year, Joe Burrow, year 3, T. Higgins, year 3, Jamar Chase, only year 2. And, their core, the NFL window to win the Super Bowl, it only lasts 2 to 3 years. You got to replenish it every couple of years. But the core, they still have locked up long-term for the next 2 or 3 years. I know what you're saying, and I think at some point the discord comes from financial issues. If both receivers are fighting for a big chunk of the pie. But right now, that we're not even close to being in that position to talk about those two demanding more money at this point. That's what makes the Bengals so interesting. This is where we were years ago with the Chiefs when they had such a young core. All their financial stuff was locked into their veteran players because their quarterback and some key young pieces were all on their rookie deals. You're exactly right. I just think you're a couple years ahead of us talking about that when it comes to that.
Yeah, and as far as T. Higgins is concerned, he had 74 catches on 110 targets, over 1,000 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
That's outstanding.
Tevin, you had said, and I thought when you said it yesterday, it might have been incorrect, and I saw it in the paper this morning, and you might have misspoken. In the first half of that game Sunday, the Bengals were rushing 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the press conference with Coach Zach that night, and he said that was one of the changes that they made.
Yeah,
they went to the 3-man rush instead of the 4.
Yeah.
Now that being said, that is the biggest difference between his coaching staff and Marvin Lewis's coaching staff. Marvin Lewis didn't make changes. The way they started the game is how they ended it. And if you look at their record, they were consistently outperformed in the second half due to not making adjustments when the opponents did. So, like I said, my hat's off to him. The guy apparently, he knows something. Mike McCartney, excuse. But Coach Zach, he's got a good thing going, and they've got a good thing going. I'm happy for them. Now, I hope they don't rest on their palms and not do something about that offensive line, because just like the Bengals have figured out Kansas City, and you watch next year, every team that plays Kansas City and Jacksonville will do that 3-man rush and drop that 4th man back in coverage. Because you know how it goes in the NFL. It takes defensive coordinators a year or 2 to figure out an offensive juggernaut. And it looks like the Bengals have drawn up some plan to defeat Kansas City.
Nope. And look, and that's the you talk about the copycat league. Other teams, they'll follow what the Bengals did, and a lot of the teams that had success against the Chiefs this year. But then guess what? Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid will do in the offseason. And Patrick Mahomes, when everyone else zigs, they'll zag.
Yeah.
And then when they're zagging, they'll zig. And then, but it's all about, being able to make adjustments. As we talk, it's hard to win Super Bowls regularly. Tom Brady won 7 of them. There was a stretch where he went 10 years without winning one. I mean, and we're still talking about a guy that you're not going to win it every year. You're not going to win it every couple years. It's hard. Teams catch up with you. But the one thing that the Patriots did with Tom Brady, they adjusted. They made adjustments. They were able to, rehash a lot of things. That's what the Chiefs will do. That's what teams like, the Bengals right now are having their way with the league because they hit the ground running. It's fresh. It's new. But guess what? As soon as they pick up on a weakness to Joe Burrow, they will take advantage of it. And that's going to be something you probably see next year. If Patrick Mahomes, I don't think he regressed. I just think that the league zigged while he was zagging, and now he's going to have to figure out how to make adjustments. Look, everyone that's saying that Patrick Mahomes has lost a step and all that, how do you lose a step when you're 20-something years old and in your prime? It's just, no, the league
lost a step in 1 week, because a week before that, oh my goodness, he just scored in 13 seconds. The thing about it is, absolutely right. This is a copycat league. But, a lot of teams don't have the same defensive personnel that the Cincinnati Bengals do. A lot of teams don't have a Henderson and a Hubbard, on the defensive line. A lot of
with
teams
Joseph
don't have
Osai coming back.
A lot of teams don't have that. You know what I'm saying? And those are some of the few dudes that's on the Cincinnati Bengals team that are actually paid big bucks. So they definitely earned their paycheck during the AFC Championship game. So, a lot of teams can try that. And, teams tried that. What the Cincinnati Bengals did in the first half is what teams were doing to Kansas City earlier in the season. And they made that adjustment to start dropping more guys in the coverage because, I'm sure Keith Byers talked about this on Monday. The Kansas City Chiefs just refused to run the ball. Just stop running the ball. Just get pass happy. I understand, like, you got Patrick Mahomes, but they did get pass happy. And to the Cincinnati Bengals' credit, they stuck to their game plan, which was, we're not just going to continue to drop back to pass every single time. We're going to attempt to run the ball. And Kansas City, I can't remember more than twice that they ran in the second half. I know that they did, but I can only remember McCarron running the ball like once or twice in the second half. So, like, that's another thing. Like, when you are predictable to pass the ball, you can rush 3 dudes. Because, hey, man, they're not going to run it at a 3-man front. All they're going to do is drop back to pass. Now, it's a lot easier said than done. And shouts out to the Bengals players for executing what their coaches drew up on the board for them. So they're on to that. Super Bowl. The Bengals are in the Super Bowl.
And this is where it makes numbers sing and dance all you want. The Chiefs actually were the better running team on Sunday. They averaged more yards per carry. They actually had more carries. They had more yards. But it's impact plays.
Yep.
That's the thing about Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon statistically has not had a great postseason, but he's made impact plays. When they've needed him to make a play, he's been able to make a play. Now, I get that all the time. In my that's everyone's rebuttal against me when it comes to Joe Burrow is, I was talking about, like, I don't think Joe Burrow has played great in this postseason, but he has played great when it matters most. That's not an insult at him. I mean, would you rather him have a stat line like Josh Allen and be sitting at home, or would you rather have the guy that made the right play at the right time when it needed to happen? And that's been Joe Burrow every step of the way. Would I like him to look a little bit more polished? Yes, but I have to examine where he's at in his career. It's only second year in the league. First full year in the league, technically. I mean, we're seeing these quarterbacks come in like Lamar Jackson, year 2, winning an MVP. Patrick Mahomes winning an MVP his very first season as starter of the Chiefs, winning a Super Bowl MVP in year 2. That's why I'm not a believer in, remember, these guys are young. That's why I was on Bengals fans all year. I don't care that they're young because the league is not giving them that buffer anymore. You're expected to hit the ground running. Now, you have to have the expectations of what's around them. But that's why I was like in constant back and forths with Bengals fans all season. I'm like, either your team's good or they're not. You can't have it both ways, Bengals fans, because when I would say that they're bad, I would be met with, but they have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon. I'm like, okay, then he should be good. Yeah, but he's only in year 2. No. This is the NFL. Lamar Jackson was MVP in his first full year as a starter. His first 9-game run, the Baltimore Ravens were all ready to move on from Harbaugh. They had already announced that they were moving on from Harbaugh. The Ravens were not going to make the play. And the next thing you know, they're in the playoffs. They're top of the division, and Harbaugh's getting extensions, and Lamar's winning MVPs in year 2. Patrick Mahomes is winning MVPs first full year as a starter, MVP, Super Bowl MVP year 2. Like, it almost hurts. These guys are actually, what they're doing is they're hurting the Justin Fields of the world. Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, the reason the reason most are looking at them and saying, yeah, they don't got it, is because they don't look like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert their first 2 years in the league. But sometimes you're only as good as the weapons around you. And Joe Burrow, the reason I'm critical of him when he doesn't look good at times is because you don't get any excuses anymore. There is no excuse anymore. You're a victim of your own success. Like, that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, he and Joe Burrow is a victim of Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson's success. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, you should be pissed off at Joe Burrow right now. Well, everyone is praising Joe Burrow and drooling over him. If I'm Justin Fields, I'm pissed, because now if I don't look like that, I'm considered a bust of a quarterback, and that's not fair. Tom Brady, what makes him Tom Brady? It took him how many? I mean, he didn't look elite. I know he won a Super Bowl early in his career, but he looked more like the Russell Wilson type winning it early in his career. We won because of what was around me, not because of me, to where the Bengals are winning because of what he's doing. The Chiefs are winning because of what he's doing. The Ravens win because of Lamar. So that's the difference, is we're not patient anymore. We're not patient. Justin Fields, there's nothing wrong with him. Trevor Lawrence, there's nothing wrong with him. But we feel like there's something wrong with them because they don't look the part the way these other guys do so early.
Already onto their second head coaches too. Mm-hmm. It has a lot to say about organization. And we talked about this with the Dolphins, everybody being on the same page. Everything that went on with Jacksonville this season with Coach Herb, everything that went on with Nagy, and they're on to the next head coach and next GM and everything like that. I'm surprised that more quarterbacks don't pull a Eli Manning, to be perfectly honest, man, because we talked about this on draft night. We were sitting in this studio as they're going through the first round of the draft. Justin Fields going to the Bears. Disaster, bro. Said it from the jump. Have you always
been that way on that?
Yes.
Like when the Bengals drafted Burrow, there were, people were adamant. And by the way, we're seeing examples of bad organizations. The Bengals are the best.
Yeah, they're
like, I should not have thrown them out there as the worst organization in football. I was dead wrong on that, because I'm looking at these other bad organizations. Like, okay, they don't look like that bad. Like, I don't think that they are the best organization, but they're not that bad. But I can't remember where you stood with that.
Didn't know about
Joe Burrow forcing his way out of Cincinnati.
With the Joe Burrow thing, I didn't know enough about Zach Taylor. There was such a small sample size. Mm-hmm. And to be fair about Herb and Trevor Lawrence, I thought that would be a perfect fit. I thought that it would be perfectly fine. I was only talking about the Justin Fields situation from the aspect of you had a mobile, athletic quarterback with Mr. Trubisky. You refuse to adjust your offense. So you get basically the same thing. And not only you're on the hot seat as a head coach, your GM is on the hot seat. So if you don't win enough games, if you start Andy Dalton and you guys don't at least 500 by the bye week, they're going to make the quarterback change to the young guy. Then you're going to go whatever. Then you're going to get fired. The GM's going to get fired. Then they got to get a new GM and a new head coach. And is that head coach really with the Justin Fields train? So it's just a recipe for disaster. So when you just look at it from a bird's eye view, like, you got to understand that, look, man, this is not a good situation. It's not a good situation for me as a player and trying to be a career, because, like you said, when things don't work out, the coaches get fired, the GM gets fired, they go on about their business. Nobody's buying, track suits that say Nagy on the back. They're buying jerseys that says Fields on the back with number 1 on the back of it. And they're rooting for Justin Fields. And if he's out there stinking up the joint, he, like you said, he may stink. He may not be any good. But I don't think the Chicago Bears were a good landing spot for him because of all the dysfunction and all the uncertainty even heading into the season. You got to even think, Allen Robinson wanted out. They hit him with the franchise tag. He wanted out before the draft even came. So if I know fans, and I probably would be on the same boat, even though I'm like the player guy and everything like that, sometimes you do need to speak up and say, man, I don't want to go there. I don't think this is going to work out best for me in my career, because kind of like to your point about the draft and everything like that, you and I, when we apply for jobs and everything like that, everybody listening, you apply for a job, you're going for the job. The job's not selecting you. You know what I'm saying? And in the case of sports, they select you and you go and you show up and you play and everything works out. That's great. But if it doesn't, the egg is on your face and you really don't have any control over that. So I know when Eli Manning pulled that and John Elway pulled it back in the day as well, it's a bad look at first, but it wasn't a bad look ultimately when John Elway is retiring with that Lombardi at the end of his career. It wasn't a bad look when Eli got 2 of them things. So for me, man, Justin Fields, I wish him the best of luck. I know they just hired a new head coach, a defensive coordinator dude. We don't know who their OC is going to be. I hope he gets coached up, man, because you're right. We expect these dudes to be finished products and come in and hit the ground running, but it is the coach's responsibility to coach them up and coach to their talent, do what their talent does.
If I could jump in on that. What's also not fair is this is why I hate what the Jaguars did and I hate what the Bears did. Like, Joe Burrow, like this whole narrative, and this isn't Bengals fans, if you get offended by this, I don't care. Joe Burrow didn't take this franchise from the ashes and all of a sudden they're just good because of Joe Burrow. They're good because of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, the linebacker. But they're good because they have good players. Joe Burrow didn't take this team as like they're not scrubs. This is a team that has close to three 1,000-yard receivers. 27. What was the difference? But like they almost have 3 1,000-yard receivers. They have statistically the 3rd best running back in the NFL. They have one of the best. I mean, you look between Hilton on the defensive side and obviously Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard, and you look at Bates and you look at that. Like, stop doing this weird thing that you guys are doing with everything of, oh, Joe Burrow took this bad franchise and they rose from the ashes. No, that's not what's happened. They are in the Super Bowl because they have good players. And that's not a shot at Joe Burrow. This is a compliment to the Cincinnati Bengals for doing the right thing, because the Cincinnati Bengals could have done what the Jacksonville Jaguars did. They could have sat there on their hands and said, you know what? They could have sat there and said, well, we're not, Joe Burrow, he's a rookie, so we're not going to give him any talent. We got to let him develop for a couple years. Well, why do you think Joe Burrow looks as good as he does? Because he's really good, yes, but because he has good players around him. It's a lot easier to be Joe Burrow when you have a T. Higgins, when you have a Jamar Chase, and when you have a Tyler Boyd and a Joe Mixon. That's why Joe Burrow looks like he does. That's not saying he's not good and he's only good because of them, but yeah, it's common sense. Tom Brady was only as good in Tampa Bay as he was because he had Evans and he had weapons. He had they got Antonio Brown, they got Gronk, they had Leonard Fournette. You're only as good as the weapons around you. If you put Patrick Mahomes on that Jaguars team, they're not any better. Maybe sneaks out 1 or 2 more wins. Maybe you're not any better. If the Jaguars traded up front Trevor Lawrence for Joe Burrow, the Jaguars aren't better. Because it's Trevor Lawrence didn't develop because he didn't have the weapons around him that Joe Burrow had. Even last year, people say, well, they weren't very good last year. You had T. Higgins, you had Tyler Boyd, you had Joe Mixon. There was weapons that allowed Joe Burrow to look that way. Trevor Lawrence would have looked a lot better if he had weapons. Justin Fields would have looked a lot better if he had weapons. So it's not that I'm mad at these quarterbacks. I'm not mad at Justin Fields that he doesn't look better, or Trevor Lawrence that he doesn't look better. I get mad at fans when they call him out for not looking better. Direct that anger to the organization. I constantly bash the Bengals organization for what they don't do, but what they did do was, against even what I was wanting them to do last year, they gave Joe Burrow every weapon imaginable to be successful, outside of an offensive line, of course. They gave him every weapon imaginable, but you're not going to give him everything.
Right.
It's either good offensive line and no wide receivers, or shaky, if what's his name, Riley Reif is more healthy and they stay together, maybe they're slightly better. But, they gave him everything that he needed for a quarterback to be successful. Well, he doesn't have a good deep threat. Well, they gave him Jamar Chase. Now he's the best deep thrower in the league. We sit there and say these quarterbacks can't do something. Well, do they have the tools necessary for them to do that? Like, no, they don't. And now he does. So, we got to start getting on these organizations more. Patrick Mahomes, we haven't seen talent come into the league like this in forever. Patrick Mahomes took over a playoff team and had weapons galore. I know the Bengals weren't a playoff team that Joe Burrow took over, but the Bengals weren't a playoff team because of historically how bad they were defensively. They had weapons on offense. I mean, even those bad teams, you still had AJ Green, who was declining, yes. But, you went and you got your Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd earned that extension because he was really good. You got T. Higgins. He's really good. Jamar Chase is really good. This is good young talent. Joe Burrow is as good as he is because of weapons around him. Stop acting like Joe Burrow took this scrub Bengals franchise, or the franchise, yes. He didn't take a scrub roster and make them a Super Bowl team. The front office, believe it or not, made them a Super Bowl team because they got their centerpiece at quarterback, and they gave him Jamar Chase. They gave him T. Higgins. He has Tyler Boyd. He has Joe Mixon. On the defense, is complemented, of course, by the Awuzies and the Hiltons and the Bates and the Hendricksons and the Hubbards, and the list goes on and on. The point is, I'm not taking away what Joe Burrow did, but Joe Burrow's not Joe. They say the team's not the team without Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's not who he is. without those weapons around him. So for Trevor Lawrence, for us to say that he's a nobody, he has nobodies around him. Justin Fields doesn't have nearly as much weapons around him. Josh Allen was nothing for 2 years. And then you get Stephon Diggs and you get and Beasley, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's pretty damn good. Well, gee, I wonder why. Because he has freaking weapons. You're only as good as what's around you. That's the thing. We got to stop acting like, oh, we got to let him develop for a year or two before we give him weapons. Or maybe the weapons help you develop faster.
Yeah, and coaching too.
Long rant.
And coaching too.
Yeah.
We got Rams fan Todd online too.
Todd, how are you, sir? Thanks for holding.
Hey, guys, what's happening?
Hey.
Want to start off like usual and just tell you guys you do a great job. Love listening to you on my way home from work every day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You got it. So just to expand on what Justin was just talking about, I do believe exactly what you're saying about the Bengals. They are as good as, they was already building a team to get where they're at right now. Joe Burrow just got them there faster. I'm going to go with that. But let me just tell you that it's going to end badly for the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. And here's why. Not because the Rams are so much better, but the Rams are so much more experienced. The Rams have been here. We've got 15, I think we got 18 players that are currently on our team that have been in Super Bowls and that have been in Super Bowls together. You look at Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, this is the first go around. This becomes now a level even above the playoffs for these guys. And if they don't know it now, they're going to figure it out. It's the same thing that happened to us in 2001. Or I'm sorry, in Sean McVay's first Super Bowl against the Patriots. We looked like we had seen ghosts, like we were deer in headlights, to be honest, because of the moment was so big, because we were so young. And I believe that's what's going to happen to the Bengals.
But you don't think, and by the way, I don't disagree with anything you're saying in regards to how big of no one's ever played in this big of a game. But to be fair, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon and company, their main core offensively, they have never played in anything as big as a wild card game. And they rose to that occasion. And again, that's a wild card round. Okay, then you get to the divisional round. Now you're facing a big playoff game against the number one seed on the road. They hadn't faced anything as big as that before. They overcame it. And then for the second time this season, to beat the best quarterback in the NFL and Patrick Mahomes and the Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and the Chiefs at Arrowhead with a chance to get to the Super Bowl. I'm not discrediting anything you're saying, but like at a certain point, I have used your talking points at every round of the playoffs, and it hasn't mattered. So I'm almost afraid to take your talking points and use it again and be wrong again, because the damn Bengals keep making me wrong. It's driving me nuts, Tom.
Justin, listen to me. Jump on the bandwagon, brother. I'm going to tell you, listen, going from college to the NFL is a phase. It's a jump. It's a huge jump. Okay, especially when you go, You're playing with the best of the best now. Then when you go to the playoffs, don't tell me I've sitting here and watched these guys. We have, the Niners owned the Rams 6 games in a row. Okay, what was different this last time? Did you see Aaron Donald on the sidelines getting his players riled up? He knows what's at stake. He knows what's up. He knows how to get these players on point. Von Miller already knows how to do it. Okay, Eric Weddle's out there. He's huge help to the Rams. So there's going to be something to say. And Tom Brady, if we was able to have a conversation with him, he would tell you this. There is something about experience in the Super Bowl, because it's another level up. I get you. Joe Burrow and company has done great up to this point. Now it's a whole nother jump up to another level, and they're about to find out. It's not going to be pretty. I'm telling you, it's going to just.
Name your score. Name your score, Todd.
I'm going to say 31-13 Rams. And listen, if I'm wrong, I'm not one of these guys that goes cowardly. I'll call the show back in and say, you know what? Congratulations, Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. You guys did it. You guys proved me wrong.
No, I don't think it's a hot take. Look, the Rams are the favorites heading into this, and I think that'll be the popular pick, outside of this area, of course. And everything, this game's so weird because if the Rams blow out the Bengals, it won't surprise me one bit. But if it's freaking Joe Burrow and company holding up that trophy at the end of the night. That's not going to surprise me either, because everything you have said, they're the exact bullet points I have used for why I don't think they're going to win the wild card, the division, or the AFC title. And yet somehow they're still here. They're not making me believers, but they're making me eat a lot of crow. And eventually I'm tired of eating crow. So, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
This is a good Super Bowl matchup. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be
I'm going to end it like this. If either way, I'm going to be a man. I'm going to call back into your show the week after the Super Bowl, and we'll see where we're at. We'll see if what I'm saying is correct or if I'm incorrect, because it's going to be one of the two, right?
No,
I just think
absolutely.
I just think it's. I've seen it done to the Rams. I've seen it when they were saying that about the Rams, and I didn't believe it because I believed we were the better team. But they showed it to me in the Super Bowl. They just looked like the moment was too big for them, and they had just as good a talent as the other team. We just froze because
Todd,
of
let me ask you real quick before we let you go. Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, and I'm being serious here because I don't even know the answer to this. I know what people will want to say right away, but statistically and overall talent, who's better quarterback, Stafford or Burrow?
At this point, I mean, Joe Burrow has the sky's the limit for him. He's young. He's in a whole different dynamic right now. I mean, he's young early in his career, and he's in a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford never, ever had that. He got banged around, pushed around, beat up, but that got him ready for this moment. That got him ready to overcome Tampa Bay coming back, Tom Brady coming back, the Super Bowl champs coming back on him. That got him ready for a team that beat him 6 times in a row. That got him ready for that moment when he had to say, well, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for. So currently, right at this moment, I think Matthew Stafford, because of his experience and what he's had to overcome and still accomplish, is a better quarterback. But I believe Joe Burrow has the capability of being Tom Brady-like if he's set up in the right system. That's my opinion.
All right, Todd, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, right now, again, if we're talking ceiling, Joe Burrow all day.
Right.
But as far as right now, I don't know if you switched quarterbacks. I don't think that the Bengals are any different, and I don't think that the Rams are any different. I think they're actually pretty damn equal. That's why I said I think the quarterback position kind of cancels one another out. You know what you're going to get there. Wide receiver one, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp. They kind of cancel one another out. Now you're talking OBJ, T. Higgins. Now it's a real pain for me to decide who I want more, but I'm going to give that to T. Higgins. OBJ is the bigger star, but T. Higgins is the better talent. I mean, it's going to come down to you're splitting hairs at this point as far as the advantage defensive line. Well, right?
I don't know.
It
all comes down to, can the Bengals offensive line hold up? Can they hold up? Can they play even? Can they play even against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, former Super Bowl MVP, by the way? It's going to be a tall task for that offensive line, but I mean, they've done it before. They done it against the Titans. They did it against Kansas City. So I don't know, man. Like I said, we're not making our picks till next Friday. And by the way, I am keeping track of everybody that calls into the show that gives us a prediction, and I'll make fun of them or I'll praise them.
Kev, you do not make fun. Come on.
Todd. No, I'll make fun of the people that are on the opposite side of me. But I haven't made up my mind yet. But I am leaning towards the Rams.
So Ron Broadstock says that, people still aren't believing in the Bengals defense. It's just mind-blowing. I don't think it's that people aren't believing in the Bengals defense, but I also just look, the Niners defense is better. And we saw what Stafford did against that defense. He didn't overwhelm them for 4 quarters, but I mean, he still threw for 300+ yards, multiple touchdowns. I mean, at the end of the day, of course your defense is good. That's how you're here. Of course your offense is good. That's how you're in the Super Bowl. So is the Rams. Their offense is good. Their defense is good. It's just a matter of 2 good defenses. Whose good defense is better? 2 good offenses. Whose good offense is better? That's why it's a Super Bowl. This matchup is awesome. I love this matchup. I do understand why people say the Bengals will get blown out. But like I said before, every bullet point that last caller, Rams fan Todd, said why, the experience factor, all that.
I said the same thing first, the Chiefs.
Every bullet point that he listed, I agree with. But every bullet point is the same bullet points I've been using for the entire Bengals playoff run. Well, their youthful ignorance. They're so good they just don't know any better. But they might win a wild card game. But after that, the journey is over. They had their fun, and then the moment would be too big against the Titans on the road, division around. No, they were the more poised team down the stretch. Joe Burrow, although didn't play a great game, still didn't let it rattle him, made big throw after big throw, set up Jamar Chase, set up, Evan McPherson for the big kick as usual. Every game, I've used those same bullet points. Yeah, well, they're young. The moment's going to become too big. You get to the AFC title game. Well, congratulations. Now you got to play the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Good luck with that. And it was identical. I mean, bad half for the Bengals the first half, great half for the Chiefs, great second half for the Bengals, bad half for the Chiefs. They were identical. Let's continue with this. 518-1410. Bengals fans are all upset. Todd is wrong. The Bengals were supposed to be blown out in Kansas City. Look, here's what I'm going to say. I'm defending your team. But what I don't have time for on this show is sensitive fans. You're getting defensive about a Rams fan picking his team to beat your team. Oh, the nerve. Let Rams fan Todd be happy about that. And by the way, he should be. They have Von Miller. They have Aaron Donald. They have stars galore on their team. You have stars galore on your team, too. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for this matchup. But let's pick up with this. 518-1410. Kev Nash brings us over under. Still a lot to get to here in the third and final hour. We'll be back in a moment.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Millions of people use Zoom Phone, the innovative and feature-rich cloud phone system for businesses of any size. Zoom Phone is simple to use, whether you're on a mobile device, desktop, laptop, or desk phone. And because every call is important to your business, Zoom Phone was built with reliability in mind, using geographic redundancy to keep your communications online. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Visit zoom.com/phone system. Zoom, how the world connects.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth. Step out of the car, please. I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. Ha ha! 5 weeks ago, with up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
The Big Hoopla is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year and will hit a milestone 100,000 tickets donated to airmen, their families, and students when combined with Hometown Heroes events in those 10 years. This furthers our region's commitment to supporting our military during the 75th anniversary year of the Air Force. The 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16 at UD Arena. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. But then what? Well, there is a nice piece of stock music playing behind me that a talented composer worked really hard on. So let's enjoy it. Wow, almost overshadows the saving big when you switch to Progressive part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Jackson Hewitt needs you to know 3 things about filing taxes this year. 1, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2, you have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3, a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a parent, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 53. Tonight's going to be cloudy with rain, a low near 38. And tomorrow's going to be cloudy with rain and a wintry mix, a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
We're a farm store, a family store, a look what I found store. We're a store made for real people and some real beasts. We're a hey neighbor kind of store and an everyday low price store. We're Rural King, and we're working hard to be your favorite store. Check out the huge selection of men's, women's, and kids' Wrangler clothing at the lowest prices every day, like these Wrangler Retro Bootcut jeans for just $49.99.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Football fans, the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show is officially back. Every Sunday morning starting at 11:30 a.m., College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will be live at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. The guys will recap the biggest games from college football Saturday, including your Ohio State Buckeyes. The guys will also get you set up for the day's biggest NFL matchups, featuring your Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and more. It's the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show, live from Frickers on 741, Sunday mornings at 11:30 on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So Will on Facebook says, in my humble opinion, Justin, if the Bengals win the Super Bowl this year, you are going to hear I told you so for the rest of your radio career. It's getting old listening to. Let it go, people. Are you saying me? I've actually been. I defended the Bengals to the last Rams caller. I said that eventually you just got to stop with the whole. I mean, this Bengals team's not supposed to be here. They're horrible. Their offensive line is horrible. You have a second-year quarterback. Your best receiver is a rookie. Your second best receiver is a second-year player. You should not be here. You've won 6 games total the last 2 years, and yet you're in the Super Bowl this year. And I'm not insulting like that's how great of a story this is, but it's that great of a story because it's not supposed to happen. Like, the Rams being in the Super Bowl really it's not a big story. I mean, it's expected. Right. Like them in the Super Bowl, they're supposed to be. You gave up all that draft capital. You made a blockbuster trade to get Matthew Stafford last year. You felt you were, a playmaking quarterback away from bringing this roster to that next level. And they've done that. They're not a surprise. Them being here, not a surprise. I mean, I know you could say, some believe that the Packers would be here. They were the ones, Tom Brady, defending Super Bowl champions. But like, if the Packers were in the Super Bowl, that's not a surprise. Right. If the Bucs with Tom Brady are in the Super Bowl, not a surprise. And this Rams team being in the Super Bowl, also not a surprise. The Bengals are a surprise. That's a division. That's a conference that has Josh Allen and the Bills. It has Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Coming into the season, you had a Super Bowl caliber roster with the Browns, not Baker Mayfield in the Browns, but with that roster, Baker Mayfield capable of winning with that group. Everyone was kind of looking at them as that next hot up and coming team, right? Obviously Patrick Mahomes and company over there. There's so many teams and storylines out of the AFC that we really shouldn't be talking about the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Again, that's not an insult. That's one hell of a story. There were so many roadblocks in the way. That's why they shouldn't be here. You should not be in a Super Bowl in a conference with Patrick Mahomes, with Josh Allen, with Lamar Jackson, with everything going on in that conference, especially with you having a second-year quarterback that the first year was destroyed by injuries, the offensive line being as bad as it is, a coach that came into the season on the hot seat. I mean, there was so much working against them, and they are here against all odds. That's one hell of a storyline. So I don't know what you mean by it's getting old listening to. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. This is a hell of a storyline. Even someone like me who's been dead wrong about this from the very beginning. But when he says, so Will said, he goes, you are going to hear I told you so for the rest of your radio career. The reason I'm not going to hear I told you so the rest of my radio career is because the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. Nobody told me they were going to be in the Super Bowl.
I can think of one person.
Well, no, we'll get to him in a moment. The most delusional Bengals fan that's a part of the show is on hold. I'll get to him in a second. He never told me this team would be in the Super Bowl. And he shouldn't have. No one should have said that because they're not supposed to be here, but they are here because they are a great team. But they're not supposed to be here. So, no, I'm not going to hear I told you so the rest of my radio career because nobody told me this. Nobody told me this. Now, when Joe Burrow goes on to win this Super Bowl and become an MVP and all that, I'll hear the I told you so's at that point. But I don't believe the Bengals being in the Super Bowl has led to me being told I told you so, because for you to say I told you so, like at least Dan Orlovsky has proof. He has evidence. That video's been floating around all day, and everyone, Stephen A., what? Because everyone laughed at Dan Orlovsky when he said that this team could be a Super Bowl team with Joe Burrow this season, and everyone laughed at him, made fun of. That's the only clip of evidence from anyone in the history of the world saying that the Bengals would win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl this year. So, no, I don't believe I'll be told I told you so because nobody told me this. So just saying.
Orlovsky brought receipts. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love when the tapes are rolling.
Oh, that's why I'm laughing earlier. You were writing down everyone. I'm like, oh, we should call you Kev Nash or Kev Receipts Nash. I mean, my goodness.
I meant to do that before the AFC and NFC championship game, but I forgot. No, I was off. I was off on that Friday. Yeah. Right. Shouts out to Slimmer. Came in. Kept you in check because I heard you were wilding out on that Thursday. People were sliding in my DMs.
I was good on what was Thursday? He came in on Friday.
Yeah.
What did I say on Thursday?
I don't know. I have to dig it up. Somebody sent me some screenshots.
Probably some truth serum that you couldn't handle.
They're like, where's Kev? Where's Kev? He's going crazy again.
I'm sure, I was dropping some truth serum on it. I had to remind him that, hey, Joe Burrow, he's not Patrick Mahomes. This Bengals team, that they ain't going to beat the Chiefs. I mean, I was dropping some truth serum on him. So there you go. We all know how that turned out.
Then 3:30 on Sunday happened.
Crow and omelets with all the eggs on my face. That's all I've had lately. But yes. So no, that last caller, Todd, the Rams fan, called in and just said that the Bengals, there's no chance it's going to get ugly. He's a Rams fan, and he said that the youth is going to catch up with the Bengals. At the moment's too big. And I'm like, well, let's not act like the Super Bowl is the only big moment. I mean, there's been so many big moments that they've had to overcome. How about, I don't care if the Steelers team is not as good as Steelers teams of the past, but to go to Pittsburgh to kick off the season, not kick off the season, but early in the season, to go to Pittsburgh and dominate Pittsburgh the way that they did, it's still Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? And then to dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers twice. That's big moments early in the season for an up-and-coming team. Then to beat, obviously, to take care of business against the Ravens twice. Not just beating the Ravens, destroying the Ravens twice. Those are big moments that they had to rise to the occasion on. I know they lost to the Packers, but really, everyone was put on notice when they go into overtime and Joe Burrow goes throw for throw with Aaron Rodgers. That was a high-pressured situation, and I don't think that they came up short because of the moment. I mean, it's just two good football teams going head-to-head. So I'm defending the Bengals here. I said that the moment would be too big for them in the wild card round. It wasn't. I said the moment would be too big for them in the divisional round on the road against the number 1 seed Titans. It wasn't. And then I really tried to convince everybody that there's no way in hell that Joey B would be able to defeat Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead in the AFC Championship game with the chance to get to the Super Bowl. It doesn't get any bigger than that this past weekend. And they did it. So I have to find new material. I have to find new reasons. Like, if they win this thing, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I'm already screwed that they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Where's your cigar? You're supposed to blaze up a cigar for
got 2 weeks.
AFC. Okay.
We got 2 weeks.
And your new sunglasses.
So Mark Smith says, here we go with the swept by the Browns. I actually wasn't going there. So Kick rocks, Mark. I wasn't going to bring up the Browns, but now that you mentioned it, you could win all the Super Bowls in the world, but you just can't beat the Browns. Which again, I lose that talking point. Once you win the Super Bowl, I have nothing left. This guy I'm about to bring on, I have no ammo anymore. The fact that they're here, I've pretty much lost all my ammo. But I will completely lose my ammo if they win the Super Bowl, Kev. I will never be able to win an argument. Oh, yeah? Charlie, you think that the Bengals are going to beat the Browns? There's no way, Charlie. What makes you think that? Defending Super Bowl champions, baby. He wins. Oh, yeah, you think you're going to go 17-0 next year, Charlie? There's no way. Super Bowl champions, baby. Okay, yep, I lost again. Oh, you think Joe Burrow's so great? Yeah, he won a Super Bowl. Damn it. Oh, you think Zach Taylor's the best coach of the AFC? Yeah, he just won the Super Bowl. Damn it again. Kev, I'm going to lose it all if I haven't lost it already. Let's just bring him on.
Comes
Charlie,
down to one game.
How are you, my friend? Congratulations. If you be annoying, I'm hanging up on you.
Not your fault, Justin.
So calm, so just cool and collected. Look at you, living your best life. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Not your fault. Justin.
Charlie.
It's not your fault.
What's not my fault?
Look, you didn't grow up in Cleveland, right? You grew up in Lima.
I grew up in El Paso, Texas, my friend.
All right, so you definitely didn't grow up in Cleveland.
Thank God. Or Cincinnati, thank God. Your quarterback said it. There's nothing to do there.
At some point, something happened, and it's not your fault. And I'm just telling you that as a Bengals fan, it is not your fault that you became a Browns fan. You don't have to live that life no more.
Oh, it's a hard pass.
We won't even say it. Hey, you're sitting next to a guy who grew up in Cleveland, and he's Kev's a genius. You know how? I didn't even have to know much about Kev. He's from Cleveland. He's a Steelers fan. Oh man, he's maybe the smartest person in Cleveland.
Thank you. Your team's in the Super Bowl, and you're calling in with this mess, huh?
It's not your fault. Okay.
Okay.
I want to take that burden off your shoulders. And if you feel like, while you're at home, because I know what's going on with you and, my boy Joey B, you don't have to be jealous that Joey B is the quarterback of the Bengals.
I'm not jealous. I actually think he's overrated, and I can't stand how he talks. I can't stand how he dresses. I can't stand any of it.
Like that no more.
Yes, I can, because they're in the Super Bowl. I know. I told you I've got nothing, so I got to go deeper. I gotta criticize his clothing because I got nothing else. I can't criticize his throwing ability. Can't criticize his ability to win big games. They're in the Super Bowl. I got nothing, so I got to resort to name calling and judging what he wears.
If you want to get a Nike swoosh that says JK on it, that's cool. You can wear it at your house. No judgment. If you want to wear a black turtleneck, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm just
how
saying,
dumb is that, by the way?
I'm letting you off the hook right now because of how I feel as a Bengals fan. And I think all Bengals fans would be willing to let you off the hook. And you just throw on go get a Nicky Woods jersey or something. Put that on and just.
Let's be clear. I know Icky. I like Icky a lot. I work with Icky, with this foundation at the golf outing every year. I love Icky. I'm not going to be a fan of the Bengals. I'm not going to be doing it. I'm not.
Well, I'm just giving you this chance because you know what? I love you. I'm just telling you right now, you're my guy, you and Kev. I love you guys. Kev's been a gracious, he's been a gracious opponent through the year, because he knows what this feeling is. The feeling that I now have, Kev has had this feeling.
Well played. Well played.
Kev knows how to take it all.
You and Kev are on the Cool Kids Club, and here's Kenner over here. Baker Mayfield's in another commercial.
Charlie, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up, Kev?
Can you describe what happened in your household as McPherson kicked the game-winning field goal and sent you guys to the Super Bowl? Can you describe that setting?
Imagine you're just at the ocean, but also you're at the Grand Canyon at the same time. But then,
yeah, watching your team was like looking at a big old hole. I agree. That offensive line just letting everyone get through to Burrow. I agree.
See, Kev, I gave him the chance, didn't I?
Oh my goodness, y'all two are wild, man.
I can't really. I don't even know. It was chaos, really, at our house. Everybody went crazy, man. I'm kind of still in shock. I don't know if this is how that feeling is. But and to that Rams fan, I'll just go ahead and give you my score right now.
Wait. Let me get my pen.
To be fair to that fan, if he's a fan of his team, he didn't take any bad shots. He used logic. Like, he didn't call in like I do and be immature and take shots. He was just he had good reasons why he believed that. He wasn't being immature like Kenner whenever it comes to this.
Yeah, they got a bunch of old players just like the Browns. But,
holy moly.
You're
dumb as hell if you think the Rams aren't good, Charlie. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not saying the Rams are going to win, but like you act like this is just a foregone conclusion that the Bengals are Super Bowl champions.
You said 42-7?
Right. Yes, Bengals.
Hold up. What?
42-7 Bengals blowout.
It's on wax.
Wow. Hey, by the way, did you see Joe Burrow try to sound cool? Oh yeah, my idol Kid Cudi. Yeah, he reached out to me, and the reporter said, "Oh, can you name me? What's your favorite Kid Cudi albums?" And he panicked, and he only named one song. He couldn't even think of the name of the albums because he's not as cool as he pretends to be. I'm just throwing that out there, Charlie. It was uncomfortable. It was like the time that LeBron got called out for what books he reads, and then he couldn't even name a book that he read because he doesn't actually read. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He had a LeBron moment, not a good one.
That's hate on another level for you. You can never say that you're not a Joe Burrow hater. Because that's like...
No, I am. I'm a straight-up Joe Burrow hater. I have no problem admitting that. You want to know what? I've actually shifted more towards, like, starting to accept Zach Taylor and the Bengals. Like, I actually, like, they are a good storyline. But, like I said, the guy that's getting all the credit should not be getting all the credit like McPherson. The Bengals have scored 72 points in the playoffs this year. That mofo almost has 50% of the scoring, and he's a kicker. That should never happen. That should never happen that Joe Burrow and McPherson, that he should be scoring more points than Joe Burrow. That's ridiculous. That's embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed if I'm Joey B. And then they ask him about his chain. If Baker Mayfield was asked about his necklace and he said, I make too much money for this not to be real, he would get ripped for that. And that tool actually had the nerve to say, oh, I make too much money for these to be fake and blah, blah, blah. Give me a break.
That's not even how he said it.
It's exactly how he said it. It's almost creepy how identical it was.
First of all, he just won the AFC Championship. Why are people asking about his chain? That's like, what is he supposed to say? Nothing. You
could answer it less weird than that. Oh, I make too much money. First of all, you're on a rookie deal. You don't.
Are your diamonds real? That's what the question was.
That's your media. That's your Bengal media right there. They're fans. They're new fans.
But that's not on Joe Burrow.
It is, because his answer was pretty dumb.
He didn't say it. He wasn't smug.
What happened, Charlie? You're not calm and cool. You're not cool, calm, and collected anymore. Did I get under your skin? You all right?
Listen, you know.
Oh, Charlie needs some blood pressure medicine. Put in the chat.
If the Browns had Joe Burrow, they would absolutely be in the playoffs. You know that. And you're trying to say that they're not a Super Bowl team because Joe Burrow.
Okay, you know what? You're right. If the Browns had Joe Burrow, they would be in the playoffs if Joe Burrow was healthy. But if Joe Burrow was as banged up as Baker, the Browns would not be in the playoffs. It's really common sense, Charlie. Come on, let's keep it on your team. Your team's in the Super Bowl. Let me ask you, why is your fan base so obsessed with Cleveland? Because I'm amazed at how many times I get on social media and they're taking shots at the Browns. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. You're the number one Bengals hater, and you're a Browns fan.
I'm a nobody. Nobody knows who the hell I am. Nobody.
Everyone who listens to your show knows who you are.
Oh, yeah, all 10 people. What about the hundreds of people that don't, thousands of millions of people that don't know who I am that keep taking shots at the Browns? Like Dominique Foxworth the other day. Man, how bad must Browns fans feel right now? I'm like, shut the hell up. What do they have to do with anything? What do the Browns fans have to do with any of this? Like, why do the Browns keep getting brought up? Baker Mayfield keeps getting brought. I mean, good for Baker. I mean, his name's getting brought up a lot around this Super Bowl. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out.
That dude's a total head case. Hopefully, they get a better quarterback.
Rent free.
You think Baker Mayfield is in my head rent free?
You bring him up before I do. I haven't brought up Cleveland at all until you did. You're the one that said if the Browns had Joe Burrow.
For the rest of your life, Joe Burrow will live in your head rent free.
Okay.
Y'all too, man.
I have to. Like Nora said the other day, why do you watch the Bengals? So that you hate the Bengals. I'm like, I have to watch them for work. And as soon as my bosses get smart and fire me, then I don't have to watch the Bengals anymore. And I don't have to hear Joe Burrow's stupid press conferences. I make so much money, bro. Oh yeah. What's that? I can't hear your question. I'm listening to Kid Cudi so loud. I can't name a song, but I'm listening to Kid Cudi, bro. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see who's asking the question. The bling, the shine off my real necklace here, man. It keeps blinding me. I can't see who's asking. I can't hear you because the kid. Give me a break.
Yeah, you feel like it's almost like this is like back in high school.
Yes, this is exactly what this is.
Justin's talking to us in the hallway after like the popular kid walked past him. And he's like, he can't even name a Kid Cudi song.
He can't. I can't wait to pull the audio for tomorrow. He does give weird interviews. You do. Okay. I'm going to say this serious. So like, I'm not taking shots at him. He does give weird interviews.
That guy,
hold up. Let me say this.
How many Kid Cudi albums do you have, bro?
Yeah, man. Oh, I listen to Kid Cudi before every game. That's how I dice up my opponents, bro. But I need to listen to Kid Cudi probably even louder when I go to Cleveland because I can't beat Baker Mayfield and the Browns, man.
That's all you
Kid
got,
Cudi,
baby.
bro.
Keep riding that horse.
Hey, Charlie, congrats, man. It really is cool your team's there. And you deserve it with all the crap you've had to take from me and all the Bengals haters. So there you go. But, man, we're out of time. I appreciate the call, though.
See you guys. Good day.
Kid Cudi, man. Take care. All right. 518-1410. Charlie, loving Charlie calls. We just like to go back. I like to razz him. He razzes me. In the midst of him and I going back and forth like that, Kev, I always forget, like, people don't understand that Charlie and I do that all the time. But then, like, people take what I say in that little back and forth and they just get super pissed off, not understanding the trolling tone in my voice. Except I do mean everything I say. About the Kid Cudi thing. The Kid Cudi thing was weird. And then the necklace that I make too much. Like, did you see that?
I heard.
If Baker Mayfield said that, he would be destroyed, Kev. If Aaron Rodgers said that, he would be destroyed. Joe Burrow says it, and everyone's like, oh, man. And by the way, I'm getting tired of like this is the drives me nuts. Joe Burrow's confident. No, he's cocky. He's cocky, but because people like him, he's confident. First of all, you can't be cocky if you don't have confidence. So that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's confident. Well, because you like him, it's confidence. But if you didn't like him, you'd call him cocky. I'm getting tired of that. No, he's cocky. He's cocky.
When you win,
turtleneck wearing.
When you win,
real
it's confidence.
Huh?
When you win, it's confidence.
When Baker was winning, it was just cockiness.
Was it? I thought everybody was praising Baker last year.
Ooh. I would love to know who. I couldn't even enjoy the Browns being in the playoffs because these mofos ruined my playoff experience. So I said, I'm going to make their life miserable when their team makes, which is not true because I feel like I've been pretty good.
We got Robert on line 3.
Robert, name your favorite Kid Cudi song.
Never heard of him.
Neither has Joe Burrow, but you at least told the truth.
I'm just wondering if we can get Schlemmer back.
Why is that? He likes the Bengals. He's critical of the Bengals too.
Initially, I'm happy that we're talking about, Dayton sports and somewhere near, but now it's getting ridiculous.
All right, but listen, we've talked about Bengals. Look, it's a 3-hour show. It's 5:40. We've talked serious Bengals the whole time. Now it's starting to have a little fun, and we get killjoys like you that call in, and you got to get your panties all in a wad. Give me a damn break. You called in just to say that? Have any little fun, and we have to get little Karens like that calling, hey, I want you to say nice things about my team, or I'm going to do a temper tantrum. I've been saying nice things about your team the whole GD day. I defended your team against Rams fan Todd. What do you want me to say?
Let's talk Brian Flores.
No. Got to talk about nope, blood pressure's going up. Because Rob Karen just called in. What? And by the way, Schlemmer is one hell of a host, and I actually wish he was back here as well. I love Schlemmer. Schlemmer retired because of health reasons. I hated that Schlemmer had to go too. And it doesn't surprise me that Bengals fans want Schlemmer back just like I want Schlemmer back too. But like they want Schlemmer back because Schlemmer was a Bengals fan. But you know what's funny? He would say the same things I do. Maybe not about Kid Cudi. I don't think Schlemmer really knows who Kid Cudi is to be
day and night.
Yeah. So, all right, I got to step away so my blood pressure can calm down. That last caller just ticked me off pretty dang good. You're mad because I'm not, and by the way, you take time to call just to say that you don't like the show. Why don't you just change the damn channel? It's not that hard. I don't understand the people that have to go out of their way to tell people that they don't like them. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And then I get told, well, you need to have thicker skin to deal with it. Says who? And where's this rule book? I would love to know where's this book that tells you that you have to just let people say rude things to you and you have to take it and smile. Kev, what in all seriousness, if someone called and said, Kev, I hate you, you suck, what are you supposed to say? Are you supposed to be like, well, thanks for listening? No, screw you, buddy. Like I don't know in what world we live in that it's okay to just take time out of your day to either go on Facebook and tell someone that you hate them or tell them why they suck at their job or to, get out of this city like I've been told yesterday because,
that's a new one.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that one before.
No. And then you get jerks like that last guy that do that crap. And then they expect you to sit there and be like, well, I respect your opinion. No, I do not. If I went to your job, wherever the hell you work, and said, oh, man, you're not good at your job. You're not very good, man. I miss the guy that was here before you. What do you think that person would say? He'd either swing at me, he'd either yell at me, and then you get jackasses who sit there and have the nerve to be rude to me and tell me that I'm supposed to just be nice back. No. I would love to know where this rule is. That the rule is that, Kinner, you have to let people talk mean to you, but you have to be nice back. No, I will quit this job if that's a requirement. If my boss comes in and says, hey, when guys are rude to you, you need to be nice back. And then I'm going to say, no, then I'm done with this job. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You do not get to say whatever the hell you want and be rude on our show and expect me to be nice back. No, it doesn't work that way. I don't go to people's jobs and tell them, you know what? You suck at what you do. I don't like how you flip that burger. I don't like how you work that assembly line. I don't like how you sell that car. I don't like how it is, whatever you do. I don't care. If I went to you and did that, how rude and horrible of a person would that make me? It'd make me a pretty bad person. If the worst thing I do to you in your damn life is tell you something mean about your freaking sports team, if that's the worst thing I do and that's what triggers you to stop what you're doing to call in to tell me I'm horrible at my job, then shame on you. Shame on you. I'm not for everybody. I probably won't last much longer in this business with letting someone like that moron get under my skin the way he just did. But I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people telling me that, well, you just got to let it roll off your back. You got to let them say whatever they want to say and then just get over it. Says who? I love when people try saying that. Who says that? Who says that we're supposed to just let people talk like that to us and then just say, okay, you're right, my bad, my fault. No, I need to get over myself. That guy needs to get over his. I hope he's as good at his job as what he thinks he is at telling me how to do mine. I'll be back. Maybe. It's the Kev Nash Show. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Skyways are back at Skyline for a very limited time. Now through February 6th, order a Skyway and get 50% extra cheese at no extra charge on regular and large ways. At participating Skylines only. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Why does Walgreens offer copays as low as $0 and 90-day refills? Because we care about Medicare, so you don't have to. I mean, do you really care to hear me go on about same-day prescription delivery making your life easier? Or how there's a pharmacy expert available 24/7 and one-click refills? Well, I just did anyways. Fill your Medicare prescriptions with Walgreens and save.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans with Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy. Restrictions apply. See walgreens.com/Medicare for complete details.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. I don't know about you, but my car could use a few upgrades. I mean, the 8-inch tier in the driver's seat does have sentimental value since my butt has molded to fit it, but I'm ready to move on. My solution? eBay Motors. They've got all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, from seat covers to whole new seats. When I get that new seat, I think I'll put the old one in the living room, right next to the minivan seats, or as we call it, the sectional. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
How do you make the most of your land? Shaw does it behind the wheel of the John Deere 1025R compact tractor.
Shaw stands for skilled hands at work.
And he lives up to the name as he uses his versatile tractor to make
the earth take the shape that I wanted to take.
And the Allens fire up their John Deere 3032E compact tractor to grow about 9 acres of flowers. Because the beauty of having land is deciding how to make it yours. There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, Kev Nash is officially calmed down, and we're back now.
I took my pills.
Yeah, Kev, you have an anger problem.
You gotta relax, yo.
I am calm.
Now.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Of course, in the coming... by the way, do you like the 2-week gap between the AFC, NFC title games and the Super Bowl?
Yes.
You know, we talk about the college football playoff. I hate that there's selection Sunday, and then you got to wait like an entire month, basically. You got to wait an entire month before the first playoff game even happens. I don't know. I don't know if I like the 2-week gap. I kind of like the fact that extra week, at least it prolongs the season just a little longer. But it is interesting that they go about it that way, that they do, stretch it out that far. So you like that 2-week gap?
I like the hype of it. I like basically this week is all about talking about what happened in the AFC and NFC championship game. And then obviously we have news going on with Tom Brady, his retirement, obviously the situation that's going on with Brian Flores suing the NFL. So you have all these hot issues going on and other coaches being hired at other spots. I mean, even Jim Harbaugh, he's interviewing for the Vikings job tomorrow on National Signing Day, nonetheless. Sure, that's going to help out the recruiting class.
I'd boot him.
You say what?
I would boot. If I'm Michigan, I get rid of him now. Here's the deal. I know just like players have the right to enter the transfer portal and go, coaches have the right to come and go, but I do believe that there's a timing. Like had he, they got beat by, obviously Georgia in the semifinal. Cool. Maybe a week later, you take an NFL job. Okay, cool. You finally beat Ohio State. You got Michigan to the college football playoff. You're not winning a national championship. They don't recruit. I mean, as good as they are, they recruit at the same level as those Alabamas and others, and it is kind of evident on the field. I get it if you want to go back to the NFL, but to wait until February to decide to leave for the NFL and to leave Michigan hanging on National Signing Day of all days. Like, and by the way, this is out there. They had an opportunity to build on the momentum that they established by beating Ohio State and getting to the college football playoff. They had a chance to build on that in the recruiting world. But now, even if he doesn't go to the NFL, the fact that it's public that he's even this deep into an NFL interview, it shows that he's not married to this team long term. So National Signing Day, all the guys that are on the fence. I talked about this with buyers yesterday. I said, if you're a player that hasn't decided where you want to go, but you have that team on your list, but you see that the coach is flirting with some NFL jobs, what's your mindset? And he goes, I would take him off. Like at that point, like he goes, I want to go play for you for a few years. I don't want to go somewhere where I might have to reopen. I know today's different. It's basically free agency after every season, kind of for most. But like
after every semester,
I just think that you're putting your team in a very bad situation. I think it's disrespectful. If we're going to send, if not we, but at times me and others, if we're going to bitch about players just getting up and leaving and quitting their situation to go elsewhere, it's only fair to call out coaches when they do it. I think there's a right time to leave as a coach. And a week after that, say, hey, it's been fun. It's been an honor to have a chance to coach my alma mater. It was great to get to the playoff, but I want to go back to the NFL. I don't think there's any hard feelings there. But to wait it out, that ended in January, beginning of January, and you wait an entire month and you're still doing the interview process. You're hurting your team. You're clearly not committed to bettering your team right now. So if I'm Michigan, I would say we stuck with you through thick and thin. We were with you when you were losing however many straight years to Ohio State. We were with you when you were losing, not just to Ohio State, but big rivalry game after big rivalry game. We didn't fire you. The whole world was telling us to fire you. We didn't fire you. We stuck by your side. And now we're not mad that you're leaving, but the way you're going about leaving, setting us up for failure, what good quality coach are you going to get at this stage of it? How are you going to salvage that recruiting class? A bad recruiting class will set you back 2 or 3 years. And it could be 1 or 2 bad years because you're not going to get a good quality coach to replace him at this go round. It's just a disaster. I've never gotten into that Ohio State Michigan rivalry as far as trash talking that team, but it's cowardly. If Ryan Day was doing this, I'd be just as pissed. I just think it's a bad look. If I'm Michigan, you've been patient with him long enough. I wouldn't even give him the chance to dump you. I'd dump him before he dumps you and say, hey, don't worry. You have plenty of time to go find NFL jobs. You're going to leave us screwed over anyways. We might as well at least have the upper hand here. I'm just not a fan of Harbaugh right now at all.
Yeah, I get what you're coming from, and I can't say you're wrong. What would make me hesitate if I'm on the board for Michigan is, do we have cause? Because if we have cause, we don't have to pay you.
Yep.
If they fired him without cause, they're going to have to pay out the rest of the contract. Granted, the contract ain't what it was when he first signed and everything like that. And I know they've been trying to work on a new contract, yada, 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 and all that type of stuff. So that's one. 2, the guys that are already signed, that signed in December in the early signing period and everything like that, and the Harbaugh bounces, best believe dudes are jumping in the portal, like before they even went through spring practice at Michigan. So, just say you're a guy that is from Ohio or from Michigan or from wherever. You think that the guys at Michigan State ain't dialing that line? You think people that already had recruiting ties, teams that came in, quote unquote, number 2 in that battle, and they pick up the Michigan hat instead of the Ohio State hat, and it came down to those 2 schools, you think they're not dialing them up now? Because remember, back before the early signing period and before the transfer portal, second place in recruiting meant absolutely nothing. That just meant you lost first. You're the first loser. But now being second in the recruiting thing, and they go into another school and them jumping in the portal, you have the upper hand because you already have a relationship with them. So if he bounces to Minnesota to be the Vikings head coach, it's open season at Michigan. It's open season on all their players for whomever. If I'm Frost, I'm dialing them up. If I'm anybody that needs talent, because they got it there. And another thing about it is he ain't beating Ohio State this upcoming season. You know why? Because all his best players are in the NFL.
And he knows that they will run the score up if they have a chance next year. I guarantee.
Yeah, ain't no Hutchinson, ain't no Ajabo, the safety, the corner. All them dudes is gone. Oh, and more importantly, them dudes are 1st and 2nd round draft picks. So they're real good.
Oh, yeah. All right, folks, that wraps it up for us today. Excited for tomorrow's show again. Get Jason Fitz back on tomorrow. We'll get my temper back under control for tomorrow.
You'll be all right.
I'll give a hooday for all the Bengals fans, for all the Karens out there, the Bengal Karens that I upset today. I'll give you a hooday. Hopefully that makes you feel better for the rest of the night. Hope you're listening, Robert.
He is.
Until tomorrow, it's been the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds